Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of Hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week.
Wherever you go. You can listen to the news. You can sleep with the blues on this wonderful, wonderful station. Just take a lively companion wherever you go. Take a portable radio. Take a portable radio.
Now, here comes the music.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to it. It's another installment of the show with Clayton McKee on this Q Talk America Radio Network, broadcasting all around the world and to the ships at sea every Tuesday night, coming to you from our Humble Studios in Central Phoenix, Arizona, USA. Hi, everybody. Mira's in the chat room. Oh, she's in there. How's that? People. By the way, you can do have two chat rooms. There's standard one we typically use, and the one that's alongside the YouTube channel. Sometimes we're going to have a monitor in here that we can at least see.
And I try to monitor YouTube, but I forget about it like 30 minutes at a time.
With our budget, maybe. You never know.
Do I have to chip in for that?
Oh, we all do. Of course we
right.
do. By the way, Marnie
It's an all-scape.
Marnie is out this week. She had some project she said she had for work she had to get done,
Very
and
busy,
she's on quite the sleep deficit, according to what she had messaged us earlier, that she may or may not remember driving to an appointment she had earlier today.
It's very
It's
dangerous.
worrisome. It's actually more
More
dangerous
dangerous.
sometimes to drive that tired than it is to drive drunk.
Sure,
Yeah.
There
because
have
when you're
been
drunk,
studies-
you're indefensible. You can do
Yeah.
anything, but you're tired. Just not driving.
Marnie, don't get a DWT
Yeah.
driving while tired.
Exactly. Oh, there's Mama Di, Summer, Danielle is all in there. Meow Cow. Dramatic opening music is dramatic. What does that even mean?
I don't think he usually makes it for the beginning.
Oh.
Oh.
We're very dramatic.
He's finishing up his cartography duties and then seems to join us a little bit
Yeah.
after.
We would like for I think,
Or cartographic.
yeah. Is that how you do it?
I don't know.
I'd like you to finish up your duties a little earlier or take a break and join the show before we start because it's really exciting, that opening that I spent so many hours on.
It's super exciting.
Super. This is show 347. It is the 5th of June, 2018, at least from where we are sitting right
What day
now.
is it? The 5th.
It's the 5th. 5. It would be June. It would be Cinco de Juno. I think that's how they
Junio.
would do. Sure. Cool. Whatever.
Sure.
I'm not good at this.
Say, I don't know my Spanish months, as it turns out.
Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, noviembre,
Oh, good.
October, diciembre. The rest
Well,
are
and there
easy.
is your Latin lesson for today. Look at you.
Well, a lot of them are just numbers until
start.
July and August came up.
Oh,
And then the brays. I like
Just-
the brays. Septembre, November.
Yeah.
sure.
Because September should be 7, but it's not because of July, because of Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar.
Damn the Caesars.
November should be 9, December should be 10. Like, there should be 10 months in the year. And it should end just in numbers. It should be really simple to remember, but
Oh, clearly I missed a
to
page out of my history
egotistical
book.
motherfuckers.
I must have missed something somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
That's how calendars work.
I guess
Look at
I
that.
learned a whole new way calendars work. It's
English,
kind of right.
the weekdays are after Norse gods, like Twice. Like, there's the moon and the sun, and then there's Twice, Odin, Thor. Thursday is Thor, Odin is Wednesday,
Right.
Twice is Tuesday, Freeze is Friday.
You think you're Thor?
And then Saturn is Saturday. Like, isn't that? So I mean, I know all my
I'm
shit.
exhausted.
I just remember what gods the beginning months are. Like, I don't know what gods Enero and Febrero and all those are.
Oh, Meow Cow, could you get on that? Because I know calendars go right alongside mapping.
Oh,
so
sure.
I figure you could be
Yeah.
our cartographer and our calendographer.
In fact, you know what we've done? We've expanded your departments.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
no, just with duties, not with budgets.
No,
Yeah.
there's
No,
no
I mean,
new
there was no
personnel.
downsizing. No one lost their job.
Nobody
Right.
lost a job. You just gained more duties.
But there's no upsizing either, except for your work.
I was obsessed in like junior high with like different mythologies.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Norse
very
gods,
fun.
the
Yeah.
Roman gods, the Greek gods, how they all became each other. I love that
I was
shit.
saying, they're all the same.
Then they made Xanadu, and they included it all into a movie musical with Olivia Newton-John.
And life was complete.
Dreams do come true. That's the point of that story.
Wow, I did not realize that Xanadu was part of any of that.
Yeah, it's about the 9 muses of art coming to life
Good God. So now there's another
to
reason
inspire someone to paint album covers. I mean, it's just bizarre.
So wait, so that's a reason to go back and watch that movie to figure out that shit now?
Well, it's kind of you kind of get it in the opening sequence.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen it. I think I've just seen segments of it. Because
I love
isn't
that
Gene
movie.
Kelly in it? Yeah, so I know Gene Kelly, Olivia Newton-John, some
and
roller
Michael
skating.
Beck, roller
Don't know
skating
who's Michael Beck.
from the Warriors and Xanadu. He had 2 big movie credits.
That was it.
And luckily, I
Xanadu?
liked,
One of them was Xanadu.
and luckily, I liked both of them.
All right. I do enjoy
In
the
my
song.
mind, somewhere he comes around in that Eddie and the Cruisers movie. So I think somehow he's in that, but I don't know if I'm sure.
I do have the
could be.
vinyl soundtrack to Xanadu because I got it. Like I've told the story before. My mom, many years ago, worked for ABC Records, and she was responsible for going to, at that time, I don't know if it was just Walmart stores in the Midwest where we lived, or if there were other stores, but she had to go and restock vinyl into their displays.
Oh yeah,
So we oftentimes wound up with all kinds of albums and stuff. So
something that fell off the truck.
sure, I have that in my collection of vinyl. So.
Oh, I was maybe my cousin Chrissy went and saw that, my movie partner from the summer, because our parents would visit and just dump us up together at a movie theater and be like, see you in 8 hours. So we saw a lot
Smart.
of movies as kids.
That might be my summer strategy, in fact.
Oh, if I can't fix your lawnmower, it's gonna be you're gonna send these kids.
It's back to the movies for
There
you.
you go.
I'll tell you what, kid. The first movie's at 10 a.m. I'll pick you up at 9.
Yeah,
Oh, good luck with that.
back to the popcorn counter
Yeah.
for you.
Here's $50. Have a good day. Goodbye.
$50. Wow.
I don't know. Well, how much would?
Well, no,
would
but
be,
you're
what,
right.
4 movies,
Right, you're right though.
right?
Yeah, and until they learn the gentle art of sneaking from theater to theater, which they do not encourage, but
Right, which I cannot condone.
No, but I recall hearing my mom tells stories of how they used to ride a bus from the corner from where we lived 4 miles north of town, and they would ride like on the weekends. They'd have a couple dollars, and they would literally ride the bus all the way in, and they'd spend all day at the theater. The big old Fox Theater or whatever theaters. They'd spend all day watching movies for just a couple bucks.
Sure.
Yeah, double feature, triple feature at Oscar time.
Sneak-in
But we
feature.
saw Xanadu, and we were convinced it was the greatest movie ever made.
Ever.
And then it came on cable, and I had the album that I like, because when we cleaned the house, we got to listen to an album, and there was a good long time where Xanadu was not movable from my hands.
Okay.
And then it came out on DVD. I did not have a DVD player, but I bought it.
Well, anticipation.
Came out on
Smart.
CD. I did not have a CD player, but
you
I bought
bought
it.
it.
Because
No.
I still listen to that. That soundtrack for Xanadu is still tits. Couple of good Olivia Newton-John songs, and then ELO. the
ELO
second
is
hit, yeah.
right. ELO
and
is
then the
all-
Tubes are the
Oh.
Tubes have a fun song with a big band like
Well, now I'm going to have to dig out that.
Faye
vi-
Wable and the Tubes do
I'm-
dancing to do.
I actually may have it on CD. I just don't realize. Actually, no, I know I do, because I've took your entire collection and ripped
Yeah.
your CD, so I know I have it on CD, or I have it on my iTunes. So, wow. So I'll do that this week. I'll see if I can relive some Xanadu.
And then there's a
I wonder
Friends
if it's on
episode where they're like
Spotify.
the TV's going back and forth, and Phoebe goes Xanadu, and she sits down, and I'm like, yep. Xanadu made me realize I was gay, because she looked good in that movie. Is what I'm thinking, Danielle.
Because
She was-
Xanadu was before Physical, wasn't it? That was way
About
before.
the same time. It's like the same year. Physical might just be later that same year.
Oh, I thought Xanadu
It's all
was
like
before that.
1980. I mean, it's probably the summer of, and then Physical was her hit in the fall of.
Oh, okay.
Look at that. I don't even have to dig it out. It's right there in the Spotify. I can stream it at a moment's notice.
Look at you. Look
All
at the
right.
good you can do.
I can.
My
And,
goodness.
Lots of good that can be
Now,
done.
were you as a
Got some dancing to do. I think it might be just called Dancing. That song is just terrific. It's
Did
a big
you-
band and the Tubes.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna guess though, because Xanadu, I call it a roller skating movie. I don't know if that's what.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have
Well,
the
my
same
cousin liked it.
affinity for Starlight Express?
No, that's the worst show I've ever seen.
I couldn't
I
believe
really
that they
had
made
no
that
idea how good Cats was until
Starlight Express.
that bitch rolled down stage on skates. Me and my mother saw that, and we kind of broke up with musical theater for a little while because we had seen Sunday in the Park with George, and I held the 3 hours I spent trying to knock myself unconscious on the back of the chair, and then we saw Starlight Express a short while later, and I was like, musical theater is just awful. Either this guy's gonna sing a whole song barking like a dog that made me want to put a bullet in his head because I thought something's wrong with that dog. We should probably Old Yeller it.
Poor Mandy Patinkin.
And then we saw Starlight Express, and I just remember looking at my mother and being like, "What the fuck is wrong with British people? Like, this is just." But it's where we
We
get
still
Jane
don't know.
Krakowski from. That's her. That's her Broadway debut.
Oh
Well,
shit.
Broadway debut. But it only recently hit me in the head that she is in Vacation.
Oh, right. Yeah.
She's the-
and that might yes.
she's the-
That might not be her Broadway debut. That's just her big. She was a big star.
Did you
of it.
realize that she's in National
did not.
Lampoon's Vacation?
No.
She's the one that says
She's the cousin.
She's the cousin
I'm
that says,
my daddy says I'm the best
I'm the
friend
best
kiss
best kisser.
in the 7th grade.
That's Jane Krakowski. I didn't realize it either until I was watching. I told you a couple weeks ago that there was a behind-the-scenes series about Caddyshack, and then they went into National Lampoon's Vacation.
Right.
And I watched like the first 5 or 10 minutes, and she was in it, and they showed the scene. I'm like, oh my god, I never realized that was Jane Krakowski. So that's where we. I don't know if that. I don't know if that was one of
Wow.
her very first. It had to be one of her first when she was young.
Yeah, I mean, and her career goes back longer. That's what I mean. When I thought about that about Starlight Express, probably wasn't her first Broadway credit. It was just her first, like, possibly Tony nominated for it. I'm not sure.
I'd have to Google.
But crazy how long she's been working, and
Oh.
every once in a while they'll have her on a TV show, or maybe it was Graham Norton that was talking about all the people she's the same age as, like all the child stars that like where are they?
Oh.
But you're
Yeah,
still
you're
here,
still
even
going.
though they were the star of this thing that you were like third tree from the left.
And she's still
You're
going.
still going.
Now, Starlight Express has a not
Speaking
a
of third tree from the
not a
left.
fond memory, but it just rings a bell with me because when I first started, when I first went to Vegas in '93, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. The Hilton, which used to be the International, which is where Elvis
Right.
used to perform, they were redoing the big sign out in front of the Hilton and they were redoing the entire, I want to say amphitheater, but I may be using the wrong word. They were redoing all of that showroom because they were
It's
installing.
amphitheater-ish. I think I don't. Yeah. Does it have to be outdoors? Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't amphitheater then, but it's the same room that Elvis had done, for all those years.
Auditorium, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Showroom, I guess, whatever. Anyway, they were redoing it to install Starlight Express.
That's where I saw it.
It was a huge, big thing, and they were touting, but it did last like 2 weeks, and they were like, "Oh God, no, this is done." It couldn't have lasted long. In Vegas.
It went on forever as far as me and my mom are concerned.
But the run in Vegas, I don't think was very long. I don't know if it was a year, maybe a little more.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a run of trying to like attract the crowd that sometimes went to New York because like Cats played at like the Aladdin for a while.
No.
Or one of those, the Stardust or the Aladdin. Like they were trying to put in like legitimate shows. The Phantom of the Opera played there at some capacity, and then they were like, we just need to make up our own shit and do like David Cassidy does this bullshit.
Joseph and the Amazing Spectaculated Dreamcoat.
Yeah, but then he did some like he didn't really do that show. He just did some other nonsense where he walked around like singing stuff in a vague story. Like I think was it called FX? It had some weird name, and they would put in like a mid-level '70s star to like take over, but David Cassidy seemed to be in it the most.
And then it became the Donnie and Marie show at the Flamingo.
Just craziness.
They just left those two there.
And there you go.
And when the Wynn opened, they tried to do Avenue Q as like an in-house show and have a permanent house for it. And they did the weird thing of making it 90 minutes, no intermission, which I don't understand. I think, people want to gamble. So once you let them up, they're going to go find a slot machine.
Right.
But it was such a weird crowd to be in Vegas, that like conservative, Midwestern, it's just got a weird vibe to it, and try to put in this snarky New York dirty puppet show that was completely off color. But they hadn't made the switch yet. They were still trying to get the old people into Vegas. They hadn't made it like trying to get the Aria crowd. You know what I mean? They hadn't made it where now those people might find Avenue Q and think it's kind of funny.
Right.
But you weren't going to get the silver hairs.
It doesn't seem like a Wynn show for me. It seems like something that you'd have like at an Aria or the Cosmopolitan or something else.
Right, but none of those existed yet. Like like it was just Steve Wynn. What are you doing with this? Really?
It's interesting to me when
the line, George Bush is only for now.
When I go to Vegas, which is very infrequent. I used to go more often when I was traveling up to Charlie's up there for work and stuff. But it's so interesting to me that I remember the first time I went to Vegas and I thought they couldn't get any more crap on the Strip. And then I'm like,
how wrong you were.
Well, right, but I don't understand. Like all of a sudden, like there's the Aria, the Cosmopolitan, all these hotels were built. And I'm like, I don't even remember what was there before. I'm like, what the fuck? Where did you just get rid of a parking lot?
Some of that there just wasn't. There was those spaces because the south end of the Strip, once you pass like Caesars and Bally's, there was a lot of open land.
There was a gap in there.
And then the Tropicana, because the Tropicana was at the far south end of the Strip, and it was kind of isolated and alone there for many years. Like that was near nothing.
Yeah. Right, because it's right off the airport in the MGM, Excalibur, right on
but
that
all
corner.
of those came at the Tropicana has been there since like
the
50s or 60s, where it sat all alone. So you don't remember that in that space between like the Monte Carlo, which has been there probably 20 years, down there was like little shitty things there. Like there was convenience stores. Like there wasn't much there. There's nothing really missing from that space.
And then where the Stardust was, south of that, there was a lot of open space too on that side of the Strip.
Right, and then they filled in, and like the desert became, I think the desert became the Wynn. And people were like, oh my God, do you have any idea what kind of golf course is back there? I'm like, yeah, probably the one from the Desert Classic. Like that golf course has been famous longer than Las Vegas. Everybody was like, oh my God, he built the most beautiful. No, he didn't.
They just put the hotel in front of it.
Yeah, he mowed the lawn. Like that was the strangest thing to realize, that people didn't like. People in their 20s had no idea that like this always existed. It's a new building in front of it, but that shit back there has been there. The Sahara with that old shitty roller coaster that went through the casino that was so much fun, and then New York did it, and that was so much fun too. But like that Sahara roller coaster that eventually was just a dump. Like you could still ride the. No, the Sahara was like right in the middle, prime real estate, and they had a roller coaster in the back for no reason. They had no park to go around it.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Go continue
on. But the Sahara had a roller coaster out back, and eventually, as like hard times fell, like that's where they were like storing old beds. So you would go out and ride this roller coaster.
Oh God!
That was seriously just going around the dumpsters. Like you're like. The last time we rode it was like 2006 or 7, and I'm like, how is this still going? And
No,
then
wait,
they
no.
tore it down.
Okay, wait. Maybe I am thinking of the same one. It's on the north end. It was north of the Riv.
Oh, yes, yeah, the north end. Yes, it was close to the north end.
Okay, so I'm thinking of the right one
Yeah.
because you would drive down the street, and at one point the roller coaster just came out and was beside the street with you, and then went back in the building. But you're right, the back side of the building would be where all that shit was.
Yeah, just
got it.
It was weird.
And I think they leveled that. I don't know what they put there now, but because they closed it.
no, they closed it. Now it's
Oh, did they
it
re-put
might
it as
be-
something else?
yeah, like there's a Planet
Oh, okay.
Hollywood down there now. There's all kinds of shit down in that
I haven't
area.
been to the north end of the strip in a long time.
Yeah.
Because every time I go, I'm like, well, first of all, I don't really give a shit about gambling, and then everything I just kind of stay in that more of the southern area.
Yeah, I
It's
wonder.
odd that we got on a Vegas topic. I am glad to know.
I love to gamble. I used to go there all the
I
time.
am glad to say that I was actually the first time I went there, I stayed at the Stardust, which is no longer in existence. But I was glad to have actually been able to stay there because in several movies, like Wayne Newton pulls up and he's there. Well, that's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
where his show was. At least when I was there. I don't know where the hell he's performing now, but that grand entrance was there underneath that big awning and all of the neon underneath it. So
oh yeah, that
it
was so
classic
glamorous.
Vegas.
Yeah, so and the sign was the best thing to do when you were drunk was just to watch that sign light up and unlight. And now it's so you're like really that you know what I mean? It feels like we were looking at fire. You know?
And it was
It's so down market, as the British Prime Minister said this week.
I loved it because it was right across, the Stardust was right across the street from the Riviera. Again, another hotel that's closed. But I remember when I was first there in November of '93, right after I had shot the Maury Povich show, and I was going up there to meet Frank Marino, and I walked out because I'd never been there. It was my first time. Drove my little S10 truck up there, and I had my cassette queued up for Viva Las Vegas when I crested the hill and saw the strip and played it all.
Very cute.
But I remember staying there and
You gotta do the whole experience.
and you walked out from the parking lot from our room, and it was just and you're on the north part of the strip, but I was just mesmerized because you've got the Stardust, all that, and then the sign, and then the Riviera. The whole front of it was just neon. Right next to it was Circus Circus, and I forget what else, whatever.
The
And then
MGM is, I'm not the Caesars.
Wow,
Caesars and Circus, that's all right next to each other.
Caesars is further south.
Caesars is right next to Circus. They're right next to each other. I was in Circus watching them film Rain Man.
How in the hell can that be? Because there's a lot of space between Circus
They
and
built-
Caesars.
They built up. They both built towers. They were next to each other.
I'm gonna have to check that because Caesar's Palace is down by the fountains with the Bellagio.
Yeah, and Circus is right next to it.
No, it's not. Circus is way up north, just south of the Needle.
Stand by.
Yes, it is.
Stay at the Circus. Watch them film Rain Man.
I'm gonna have to pull up a map. Where's our cartographer? I need a map
I'm
of
pulling up a map right
Vegas,
now.
please.
Hang on.
There may be something in between them, but I doubt it.
Well, there's a huge space in between them because you had Stardust and then however many other fucking things
The
are
Silver Slipper used to be there too, somewhere.
before you get to Caesars. Because Caesars is down, if I'm not mistaken.
We're talking current, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope Circus isn't gone.
No, Circus because
It might be gone.
No, I can't imagine that Circus is gone.
All right, so
I
what?
don't see it. I'm gonna go
I'll look at
go
the map. too.
north to south. I've got Encore at the Wynn Las Vegas,
It's north of the
Palazzo,
Oh.
the Venetian, Casino Royale, Harrah's, Imperial Palace, Flamingo.
Oh, you're going south.
I'm headed north to south.
Okay.
On the
You've got to be on
east
the
side of the street.
But on
west
the other
side,
side, west side.
west side of the
Alright.
street, north. Start at the Space Needle, or what do you call it? Stratosphere.
Circus is out there by itself across from the Riviera.
Yeah. And
According to this map from an unknown source.
which is accurate
LasVegasMap.com.
because it's okay. Well, I think they would know, but yeah, Circus is across from the Riviera,
Yeah,
which was
Stratosphere,
across
Long
from the
Ways.
Stardust.
Circus, Riviera is across the streets.
I think you just have. I don't doubt you saw what you saw, but I think you just have a name wrong.
No, but it's nowhere near the Stratosphere. That she just
No,
said
they're
that.
No,
far, they're big
far
space,
apart.
big
I
space.
understand that, but it's closer to the Stratosphere than Caesars is by
Yes.
a long shot.
By a bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Circus is almost halfway between the Stratosphere and Caesar's Palace.
Mm-hmm. And there's a big space between
Big space.
Circus and where Caesars is.
All
big
right,
s-
I
big
must be
space.
mixing up two different
Huge.
trips.
I'm
then.
sure you are. But it's all right. It's still there. We can also go and gamble if you want to.
I'd love to.
What did you do
gamble.
this week, Kat? Oh, you've been a busy woman.
Very busy.
My God.
Very busy. Making the T-shirts left and right,
Mhm.
up and down. forward and backward.
You did how many today?
About 70.
About 70
About
shirts.
70 shirts
That's
out of a
cranking.
100 shirt order.
Mhm.
I fucked up about 15 of them though. So no, I learned a lot of things today, just kind of trial and error, and I had like a long enough run of shirts to do to really kind of try a couple of different things, and it turns out I need to slow the fuck down,
Okay.
causing myself some problems by just being in a damn hurry, which is okay.
Right.
But yeah, now they're turning out really great, and I'm really excited about this order. And it's for a company, so it may be like
That's
Lots of
what I
work,
was
yeah.
happy to hear for you.
lots of work could come out of it if I do a great job.
Mhm.
So we're working on doing that.
And if I may ask, is the company, not worried about which company, are they doing it as a promotion purely for the company, or are they trying to raise money for something, or?
So it is their 25th anniversary
Okay.
coming up, and so they had shirts made for their staff
Okay.
that say they have their logo on the front that says 25th anniversary above it, and then on the back they put like 25 years, 300 months, whatever the math works out to,
Okay.
and counting. So it's cute and
Okay, gotcha.
celebratory for their anniversary.
It's
Yeah.
almost like doing the count in Rent.
Yeah, almost.
525,600. Yeah, it's almost like
yeah,
that.
and they went all the way down to minutes, and it's more than 525,600.
Well, yeah, for 25
Because
years.
it's 25 years, so it's 25 times whatever 525,600 minutes is. Do your own math.
That's fair.
Yes, that's completely fair.
But yeah, very busy with that.
Very cool.
Very busy. We've extended our time in the old Cobalt by a week.
Oh.
Yep, they've decided.
Oh.
They've decided after all to stay open up until the very last minute.
Because what they want is they want your ass in town to help with the move.
That's what I asked.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Jeffrey messaged me today. He's like, okay, so officially, our last day is going to be the 30th now. And I said, is this because I've been bragging about not being here for moving?
Mm-hmm.
So when do you come back to town?
Friday, and our last day is Saturday. So which is okay. You know what? I would have been probably a little bummed to not be there for the last day.
Right.
Right.
You know, so it actually works out okay.
So the 30th of June is the closing of the existing
The
Cobalt.
very last day that we're going to be open in the old space.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
that should be a big party. That should be fun.
That should be a lot of fun. And I got to go this week and see the new space,
Cool.
which was very cool. And they had the bar already framed out, and
Oh, very nice.
yeah, so I basically just automatically walked in and went behind the bar because
Well, that's what, yeah.
where else do I go?
Right.
What else do I do?
Oh. Liquor cabinet
Right.
behind the bar.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's all I do. But it is the photos make it look gigantic because there's nothing in there yet. Like I don't know if you've seen any photos on social
I have
media
seen a
we've
couple that he's
shared.
posted.
Yeah.
Exciting.
But the photos make it look gigantic, but when you actually walk in there and feel the space, it's exactly the right size.
Cool.
Like I'm so excited about it.
Oh, very good.
It's exactly the right size. It's not overwhelmingly huge because I
Right.
was worried. You know what I mean? Like the photos looks bigger, and I know the square footage is bigger, and I was like, "Is this gonna be too big?"
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Actually trying to find I know he had posted. I'm just going to snag a couple
Yeah,
pictures
he
because I
posted a
know he
couple
had
of 'em.
posted a couple.
But it's very cool, and it's a very simple, very open layout, which is cool.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, instead of the shenanigans that we have now. But you know,
The candy cane shape.
right?
It's not quite a horseshoe.
And the bar that we're the space that we're in right now was so many things before it was ever even a bar. And
It's
it
all
was,
retrofitted on
it was a
retrofitted.
bar before it was us. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like somebody
Right.
else made that a bar. And it had some like weird castle theme at some point.
Yeah,
It was weird.
I always knew the shoe guy, so I knew that there was something behind there.
Yeah.
And when somebody said it was a gay bar, I was like,
Yeah,
You
I
don't
don't.
say.
I don't recall it being a bar earlier because I knew the shoe place, and then you'll remember from years and years ago, across the walkway there before that patio was there for Cobalt was where Snow Goose was. Snow Goose was the back in the day. It was the gay gift shop. It was like what we used to have
okay.
here with
Sure.
what was it called here on Central?
unique on Central.
Unique.
On Central.
Yeah, well, actually, Grey Goose became Unique on Central when he sold it and moved over here. But yeah, Grey Goose used to be there.
Huh.
So now it's all glass. There used to be a doorway there, and that's the first, I guess, gay gift shop that I knew of, where a lot of things were themed rainbowy and LGBT whatever oriented back then.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
But I don't
Rainbows on
recall-
fucking everything.
but I don't recall the bar at the time because I wasn't paying attention to it.
Yeah, there was a bar before it was Cobalt, and it had like a medieval theme for a minute.
And I if I'm not mistaken, and I probably am because I'm wrong about many things, I think it was an early morning bar. I think it was one of those places that you could start drinking at 6 a.m.
Sure,
They had that weird license.
Right there.
Ah.
If I'm not mistaken, it was one of those.
That's not a weird license anymore. You just have to make the choice now. I don't
Right.
know if it used to be a weird license to open that early, but
Oh, I think it was any day but Sunday. It was a weird choice. I think Sunday was what made it weird. But they
maybe.
couldn't do it. I think they could be open. I don't think. Maybe.
Is it still that way, or is it all 6 a.m. now?
It's all 6
or is
a.m.
Sunday
now.
still an exception?
No, I think Sunday's the
No,
same.
Sunday they ended. Sunday you can serve
Yeah.
earlier because I know. I go to breakfast all the time and have liquor. So
Sure.
Well, it makes sense because I'm sure
that,
cruising.
that was our last
opens-
blue law.
At 6 a.m.
Yes, every
does Oz.
damn day.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Oz does.
Yeah, so that's what.
I should have known that.
Yeah, and it would make sense that there would have been at some point a bar either at or near where Cobalt is right
Yeah.
now because the hospital's right there. And those third shift nurses, they get
Yeah.
off work and they want to drink. Where are they going to go?
We be drinking.
Right.
Oh, and somebody who may just have had a horrible night in the hospital with a friend. I think I'm gonna have a little drinky poo.
Listen, every once in a while they come by with the IV with the little IV cart and everything, and we have to send them back.
No. Wow.
Oh yeah.
The people that wandered out for a cigarette and never came back.
Every once in a while, somebody
Shut
crazy toddles by. Not so
wow.
much anymore since the construction because they
They've
blocked off all
off.
that throughway, so it's a
Uh-huh.
lot harder to get to us from the hospital. But oh yeah, I've chased off many a hospital gown.
That's funny. I never thought about that.
No, sir, you can't be here. You have to go back to
Uh-huh.
wherever you came from. Do you need help? Can we help you?
Can we assist you?
Yeah. And then what else? And then I brought you a lawnmower to
Yeah.
look at.
Not as a gift.
Not as a gift.
No, it's a project.
As
I've
a,
got-
as a request to please help us.
And I'd like to let all the listeners know you have really set the expectations and the bar low for this because you referred to it as a what is it? A poorly.
It's a poorly maintained 20-year-old lawnmower.
Yeah. Okay.
That we just leave sit out in the backyard all the time unless
Sure.
we're using it like once a month. Like we don't even mow our grass that often. We
Okay.
just- like once a month, somebody goes, "Oh, we should probably mow that shit down."
I feel like I'm going to be able to resurrect
I
it
really
for
hope so. I really hope so.
Lazarus, the motherfucker.
you. We'll get you.
And if not, like I said, it's 20 years old and poorly kept, so it may be time for a new one.
Well, I mowed a friend's yard today. In fact, with a 50-year-old mower
My gosh.
that I own. So I have high expectations for this one.
I feel like you maintain your mowers a little bit
You
better
damn
than
right
I do.
I do. Vacuums as well.
Jesus.
Well,
Again, I've left it sit out in the sun. I've done nothing to it at all.
it's all right. We'll get we will get through this.
Okay.
Figure it all out.
I'm excited about
Well,
it.
congrats though on the shirt orders. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it and very excited that I fixed a couple of issues that I was having and
Yeah, what I mean,
and can actually like produce a good result.
making money from home.
I mean,
I'm in.
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to do it.
Until I get tired of being at home and I move it to a shop, which
Right,
is
yeah.
which is the hope for later this year. We'll
My
see.
goal is to get out of the house a little bit more.
Yeah. See the sun. Look
Yeah.
at that.
Oh my god, I like how you got a little sun though.
You do well. Also the contrast. Now people watching believe that is a white shirt. I'm
No,
sure
they don't. No one's that stupid.
That is-
Just think
that
I
is
would
a
wear a
l-
white shirt. in
that is a
public.
lime
It
green.
is not line. It's a sea mist.
It's
at
a
best.
sherbet.
It's a very nice seafoam.
Yeah, sea foam.
Oh, sea foam.
mist.
All
Yeah.
right, there's that. Got it.
Yeah, so I decided I had the week off. It's been very nice.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I worked that horrible schedule last week that made me.
I should have pestered you on
Nearly
Sunday
died.
then. Oh, I went to see a play too. I've been very
Oh,
busy.
I know.
My
I saw
God.
you. How was the Humans?
It was good.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. It was.
What was the name of the play you saw? Was Humans?
It was
Uh-huh.
called The Humans.
Oh.
And it was
Tony Award winning from 2 years ago.
correct. And funny enough, 90 minutes, no intermission.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was good. It's about like dysfunctional family at Thanksgiving, and like banter back and forth, and the usual kinds of issues.
Art
and
imitates
then,
life.
And
is
it
that
has
what
a strange ending that I don't understand art, so I don't like if they're not tap dancing about it. I'm like, I don't know why they did that, but
Yeah.
okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it was good. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Is it an ending that makes you think, like, rather than just be razzmatazz and dance and finish?
Well, it's a play, so it wasn't a musical at
Oh,
all. So
my
there's
bad.
no razzmatazz and dance
damn
at
it.
all.
Damn it.
It's all dialogue,
Okay.
and well, I'm
and
not
plays
spoil-
are hard to end because, like,
Right.
if they don't end with like something that like sums up the whole theme in a way that makes everybody happy, like August Osage County,
Mm-hmm.
they just kind of all wander away. And the same with Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, where you're just like, I guess they're done talking.
Yeah.
This is all this was about. Like, what happens the next day?
And
Where are
very
you
mu-
going for dinner? You know what I mean? Like,
right. And very much like that. Like, they're at the youngest daughter's house for Thanksgiving, which is unusual because they always go to mom and dad's house in Scranton. And, you know, grandma's got Alzheimer's and she's hard to manage and she's living with mom and dad. And, you know, the one daughter just recently broke up with her girlfriend and had all the, like, dramatic issues with that. And the dad's, like, depressed and whatever. And so it just ends really, like, in the dark with, like, slow movement. Like, it takes him a fucking half an hour to walk out the door. And I'm like, I don't know why we did it that way.
yeah.
Like, everybody was leaving. Thanksgiving was over.
Yeah, and like we went and saw Delicate Balance with Glenn Close and I can't remember who the male lead was. And it, you know, it's just another one where like, and everybody just walks out. And you're like, wait a minute, sum
Right.
this up, recap this shit.
Yeah.
Like
And it felt like, it really did feel like everything was over. Like, everybody was getting their ride and everybody was leaving and, you know, goodbyes and whatever. And then, like, the power goes out and then dad goes to fix it and then he gets stuck. And then, like, a half an hour later, he's still walking out the door and you go, I don't know why.
yeah, that is odd.
What? I still don't know. Somebody will have to explain it to me at some point. Also, I've just spoiled the whole play for you. You're welcome.
Yeah, because you know, at the end the power is gonna go out.
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
Spoiler alerts.
Spoiler alert. So I just decided to go do
Sorry.
stuff. So I made arrangements to go visit Mama Di up with swim,
very nice.
enjoy her pool, and we had a little luncheon, a little snack.
We had a dust storm.
Yeah.
That was exciting. Dust
Oh,
devil.
like a
Dust
dust
Devil
Yeah.
came through a little microburst, and I like in the pool, and the pool boy was there doing his token jobs.
that would be me.
I assume.
Okay, got it.
So I look up in the air and I'm like watching these birds like all of a sudden took off and flying crazy, and I was like, wait, and there's all kinds of plastic bags and shit in the sky, and I'm like, well, that's odd.
A twister.
And then it like comes over the fence from the yard next door, and there's and like lifts the umbrella up in the air, knocks over the table, things start flying, and all of a sudden like, oh well, no, we're in the middle of this motherfucker. Like, this isn't something we're watching. This is something we're part of. And I'm just in the pool, like kind of like looking around, trying to, because luckily the umbrella in the pool, the umbrella in the table didn't come my way. It went
Right.
away.
Yeah.
Because I was
Oh my
just
God,
sitting
you
there
could've
staring
died.
at shit.
Sure.
I was so amazed by it. Well, then we like watch it go over to the next people's lawn, and it takes like her umbrella just went up slightly and tipped over. The one next door and the one after that like went up in the air like Mary Poppins,
Oh my God.
but like hundreds of feet in the
Yeah,
air. to
we're
where
sitting
you
there
were-
watching them.
where you're kind
just-
of like, is that still that umbrella? And they're just circling like way up there with garbage and like
Yeah.
all kinds of crazy shit.
totally.
Just going house by house, picking shit up and like having
my
it like
God.
swirling. It was so surreal.
It was because
Stone
It's
cold
like
sober.
being in Twister.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stone
yeah.
cold sober, and I'm like, what are we watching?
one of the umbrellas we know came down like in a park area where nothing was, but the
but
other one we
a
weren't.
good mile away. Like,
my
I mean,
God.
this was a long ways going and really high up. And I'm like, when that motherfucker comes down, it could kill somebody. Like, if you weren't
Right.
looking
Because yeah, I mean,
and didn't hear the whistling noise.
Umbrella through your head.
Yeah.
Right.
right through the head, through your windshield, through the roof of your house. Like I don't know
I saw every one of those movies.
how
Yeah.
that torpedo's coming back to Earth, but at some point it's coming
It's
down.
coming back, yeah.
Yeah,
What
But-
are ways to kill people in Final Destination?
it was very interesting to
But we
watch.
never
though.
saw the other umbrella land. It finally got so far away that you couldn't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there was just like a speck in the sky. Like,
Wow.
this thing was in Vegas.
Wow.
Like, I was like, what the? I'm like,
I
is
wonder
that
if it made it all the way to the Circus Circus. 'cause
Right,
it's
I know. Which is
out
just,
there in the middle of
just
nowhere.
2.6 miles away from. So for those playing, I guess the hotel that we were staying in, the first time I went, I stayed at Circus Circus only once.
Okay,
But that story doesn't make sense because it was like the next trip or the next year that we saw them film. It wasn't the first trip to Vegas and watching them film. So there must have been a hotel there that's no longer there, or like something that comes up front. But we could see them filming the car scene with Dustin Hoffman learning to drive in the driveway of Caesars. Because we were like watching it
Oh.
from the window drinking, like, what the fuck are we watching? And we're like, oh, it's a movie. And then come to realize, like, everybody was talking about Tom Cruise being there all day
no.
because he was new and young and quite the hot ticket.
And
at
what
the
movie?
time.
What movie was that?
Rain Man.
Oh, it was Rain Man. Got
World's
it.
one of the worst movies ever made.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's awful. Don't do it.
I know, shocking. I haven't seen a movie, but I haven't seen it.
You've never seen Rain Man?
Nope, nope, no, nope, 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 nope.
I'm an
definitely not, definitely not.
Excellent driver. Excellent driver.
Yeah.
I've only seen scenes of stuff, obviously.
Oh,
Sure.
there's-
Yeah, you know the pop culture references.
that it, like, even Mernaya should be against that movie because that is like.
Didn't it get all kinds of accolades and awards?
Yeah, and
but
like
you, but
everybody
you,
needs to look back at that movie and realize what
Really?
they did wrong.
Oh.
Dustin Hoffman is just offensive. It's that old, and it was ruined by
Wow.
Ed. What's that young actor's name? He was in
Ed Begley Jr.?
no, he was a younger guy back then. Ed Norton. Ed Norton did the movie where he could turn off playing a handicapped person. He could turn it off and on because it was part of the plot. Was that most people thought he was slow because he was doing this Rain Man imitation, but then like he would turn it off and like go back to living his life, but he was doing it to like be a bank robber. That or I just did a spoiler alert if you ever find that movie.
Oh.
But
Good
it
job,
really
good
did
job.
show how like fake and horrible all these people pretending to be handicapped is on TV. Like it's offense, and Dustin Hoffman is one of the most offensive performances,
Oh.
and he's just
Well,
hitting.
now I just want to see it just to experience this.
But Tom Cruise is really the part to recommend is Tom Cruise, whose character grows and learns and becomes a it's the worst plot device in the world. Meet a handicapped person, become a better person. Like,
Now I'm going to assume. Obviously, you're the way that you're describing this movie very different than the performance in was it Who's Eating Gilbert Grape?
What's eating
Gilbert Grape?
Yeah.
Where what's his name
Oh,
plays
DiCaprio.
DiCaprio plays the brother who's
Yep.
a little challenged.
and I mean, it's also the thing of getting an unknown actor. Like, I had never seen Leonardo DiCaprio till that movie,
Right.
till What's Eating Gilbert
Because
Grape.
he was a child.
But I honestly thought, well, he had been on like Growing Pains. He had a couple little credits here and there, but I honestly didn't. I didn't think that was acting at all. I thought they.
They'd hired a special
Yeah,
person.
no, and I say it all the time because My So-Called Life was on. Hiring somebody with a disability that you're trying to portray was something that was currently happening, like Corky on My So-Called Life. Like nobody was dressed up in horrifying makeup. They didn't Mickey Rooney that, so I just assumed, oh, they found someone. You know, like the kid on now he's on. Oh, what's that show called? Speechless. Where that
Oh.
kid has that. That's not
That show's still
thank
on?
God. Yeah, thank God they didn't hire someone to play that part. That kid actually has all those disabilities. I think he's a little bit tiny bit more able to walk
Oh.
than in the show.
okay.
But that's someone that has a disability that also wants to be an actor. Like, I think we can do it. Like, I don't think we ever need to see Dustin Hoffman play Rain Man again. Like,
Oh, I doubt.
or Mickey Rooney play Asian. I think we
Well,
can
he's-
safely say.
Well, he's dead.
Right. Ugh. But anyways,
Solves that
I
problem.
digress. So it was a fun day. Spent the day there. Met up
Wow,
with.
we are going everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Just it gets unfocused with three people.
You had to have been staying at the Mirage.
No, it didn't exist yet.
Was it
Yeah,
the,
Mirage didn't exist then.
That's what it did.
Treasure Island.
Whatever was didn't exist yet.
that.
the Red Rooster,
It might be like the Gold
the
Coast. But
Sanssouci, the Castaways?
now,
Or were you across the street at the Flamingo?
no, we were right next. We were just south of Circus Circus, so it's
Oh,
gone.
south of Circus Circus.
Yeah, just south of
You're at the
Circus
Bellagio
Circus.
then, or the Dunes.
None of those things. The dunes existed.
Yeah,
But
that's what used to be next to it, just across the road, to the south. Otherwise, there's nothing to the
Yeah,
south.
because there's Caesars and there's a street, and then there would be
Flamingo
the next,
Road,
Flamingo Road.
which is
and
right.
then the Bellagio, which used to be the Dunes.
Oh, it must have been the dunes.
That's probably where you were.
But anyway, so and then went to.
Google map of Las Vegas, 1985.
Oh,
And
look
that's
at
what you
you. That's
Oh,
fun.
well
That's
played
fun.
you.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Find the silver slipper on there. So
Where's Waldo of the show?
met up with Ravaloka and called him to find out because it was his birthday last week, and happy birthday to him. So we met up at Diablo's, and then just as I'm walking in, they're auctioning off
Fernelli.
for sexiest bartender, which was just funny. So I ended up spending some time visiting with him and Rob, and it was a fun
Oh,
night.
very fun.
And then went for drinks with Doug's. I haven't seen Doug in ages. So we went to Southern Rail to have a little happy hour and not eat. And then Willie walks in and out of nowhere, and we're like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, why
Right.
Southern Rail on a Sunday at 4 p.m.? Like, what makes that make sense?
Because why not?
Because why not was the answer. So, and then we found out the sad news that French Grocery only has 2 more weeks.
Oh,
And 7th Avenue in
Zut
Missouri
alors.
is
What's happening?
killing us. They're not renewing their lease. I guess they wanted the whole building or to try and buy the building, and they weren't. So hopefully it's just a move to another
Oh,
location.
got it. Okay.
Hopefully they're gonna stop serving food in like 11 days, and then they're just gonna stay open as a wine store till the wine is gone. They're just gonna
No.
my gosh.
last girl till freeway it, and so it was
Oh, that's it. Well, hopefully
Yeah.
it'll be a move for you because I know you guys really like that place.
Oh.
I've never been, but I mean,
Just my favorite. So it was very sad. I don't think this bottle of wine is from there.
well, I'm
But
curious to see what's going to happen with that corner if they're letting their lease go. I mean, it's been a now. Did I again not
but
being
Mucho
in it-
Macho Taco is allegedly staying, so who knows?
Oh,
It's all kinds of drama about people not wanting to like get. It's a bequeathed property that's part of someone's estate, and like no
a
one's
pain in
letting
the
go of it. And I'm like, are they hanging out for like something bigger? But Sylvia's is abandoned
right. That was going to say
diagonally. Like
that corner is suffering right now because Sylvia's did a huge remodel. La Pinata moved in, killed Sylvia's, so they're gone. You got a Starbucks, your French grocery across the street's now going to go away.
yeah.
Cause that needs to be a corner. We
Right,
need to
it's
get
it's kind of odd. So that was sad, but it was a fun week of visiting with people and
I know the people
unexpected
outside of
guests
our
and-
immediate area
I
love hearing
know,
about
it's-
geography and things happening with us.
We
That's
spent 30 minutes on the Vegas trip.
That's
I
true.
know we
Listen,
did.
yeah, there's that.
And you, I know we're still on you. God, it's been. We really do need that fourth person.
To help move us along.
Can't stress enough.
No, I think we just got lost in a black hole of Vegas-ism.
Oh, I miss Vegas. Let's go
Did
to Vegas.
I saw Fernelli on Sunday. I hosted the second day of a 2-day event that happens every year called Splash Bash, and then part of Splash Bash, they've incorporated it. It used to be at a bar here in town that I used to work at called Apollo's. It's called the Sexiest Bartender Contest, and it technically has nothing to do with whether or not the bartender is sexy or not. It is a fundraiser wherein a liquor sponsor, and for the past several years, it's been Tito's Handmade Vodka.
Handmade.
And by God, do not say just Tito's vodka. That handmade has to be in there. That's
Yeah.
legally in
Mandatory.
there. It's
Yep.
in their rider. So anywho, we did the event, and all of what happens is bartenders or people from around the city have to create a cocktail based on Tito's Handmade Vodka, and then whatever the hell else they want to put in it. And there were some very, very good entries this year. Very cool. So I hosted that event poolside at the Embassy Suites Hotel here in Phoenix on Sunday. Saul Fernelli, he told me that he'd run into you about all of that stuff. And then fortunately, I got to explain, because you had said to me about his plate being rather full with regards to Pride and all. So I asked him to explain to me exactly what all the hell he's doing, and he did. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's
You
not a
got-
job that goes away because the festival
Right.
ended.
No, you've got that, and then obviously personal life, and then a bar. He's also
Right.
co-running with other people, so he's got his plate is quite full. Anywho, they raised over $20,000 for the charity this year, which was great. I mean, it's 20,000 more than they had.
Feels like a lot.
Yeah.
It's one in,
For
one
a
in
charity,
10.
no, it
No,
was for Ripple,
Ripple
Phoenix,
Phoenix.
which is not even a not-for-profit yet. They've applied for it.
Yeah, they
so
haven't
it's-
got that. But Ripple Phoenix, it basically, the way that it was explained to me by Jeremy Bright, who used to be with the Ignite and the Parsons Center for Wellness and all that stuff downstairs, they broke out because when you take funding from a lot of these big agencies and whatever, they get to dictate what you do, how your outreach goes, what quotas you have to hit. And one of the things that I thought was interesting is he said that because they're specifically going for, or at least with that program he was with, they're going for gay men particularly. So no matter where you go, I believe he said 75 to 80% of whoever is there has to be gay men. That was one of the criteria. And if you
when he was with Ignite.
when he was with Ignite, yes. And he got tired of having to deal with all of the restrictions. And so he wanted to go back to basically how it started back in the day when you and I were younger, a grassroots effort where we're just out there spreading the word. We don't give a shit who listens, but there's no quota. So they're actually not taking funding from large agencies and large places. They're taking private donations for people who just want to help and give like we used to do back in the early 90s. There was a lot of not crowdfunding. Well, yeah, so you'd call it crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding.
Grassroots. So that's what Ripple Phoenix is doing. And I had to ask him that because obviously I was promoting it. He's asked me to like the page, and I'm like, I don't understand what you're doing. So sit down and talk to me about 20 minutes, and I'm like, wow. I had no idea that there were that many restrictions connected to an outreach. I would think you would just be like, anybody going to listen? Like, just tell anybody. Who cares?
Yeah.
But they were very specific about allocation of funds and this and that. And he's like, I just didn't want the restrictions.
He's invited me more than once to be like really involved in it, and I just don't have the time right now. Like I've had to
Well, of course
apologize.
you don't.
I've had to apologize to him like 100 times because I just don't quite have the time for a lot of volunteer work just now.
Well, I mean, and they have to work on their branding because Ripple is a charity out of Africa. It's also it's a Ripple Phoenix is a orthopedic surgeon, but this Ripple XRP does currency. They've got their name on Allen. There's like people involved. So like, if I can't get to it with like
With the Google search, right?
yeah,
Well, and in fairness, the Facebook page has only been up. I don't even know. Has it been a month that the Facebook page has
Maybe
been
a
around?
little longer than that.
But he's
oh, I'm just saying, like as they
Right.
go forward, it might
they've
be
got to figure that out.
if they're sharing a name with a different charity.
Because I asked him why.
It's got Ashton Kutcher and Ellen DeGeneres involved.
I asked
Yeah.
him why the name, and he said because I want to go back to like again. He keeps specifying it was grassroots, blah blah blah. Small and
make just a
tiny.
Make just a ripple, then just a
Right.
wave.
He wants.
Come on, be brave.
I make a ripple, and then my
says
ripple
don't,
affects somebody
everyone
else,
says
and
right.
it's everybody's rippling.
I got you there with
That's-
Sondheim. You didn't need
that's-
to expound on it.
Not everybody listens to Sondheim.
Every week I look to see if that's in karaoke yet.
So-
So it needs to be.
So anyway, that
Come
was a
on,
good
be
time. Got to hang out with David Hernandez and screw around with him and have fun on with all of the promotion people and everything.
So who won?
The winners were a guy named Evan May from BS West won for best cocktail.
Oh, very nice.
In his cocktail, which I didn't get to sample, I wish I would have. I think the reason he won is because he used that spiced tahine in it, and nobody else did. Like, so his had a certain distinct flavor.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I'm going to go to BS on Thursday to support somebody else. So I thought maybe he's there. I'll ask him to make it.
Oh, very nice.
So anyway, he won best cocktail. Then there was talent, which Devin Rice Miller from Stacy's won, and he's the one who was spinning fire.
Seems dangerous.
And I was.
Good thing it was a pool party.
Seems like a bad idea.
No, but that's what
it's a thing that he does, though.
Somehow in his family, he was raised. I don't know. He
By
was
carnies,
a carny.
apparently.
I don't know. Right. He actually spins fire, and it's crazy to
and
see.
use
him
a
do
real
it.
carny. Don't have Dustin Hoffman pretend to be a carny.
Right.
Use a real
Hire
one.
an actual carny.
Yeah.
So talent went to Devin. Cocktail was Evan. There was I forget who else, but overall
Somebody
the
named Kevin wins soon because I mean,
overall the winner was Mikey Phillips from Oz Bar,
Yep.
who raised the most money out of everybody. They wouldn't tell me what the breakup was of the money, but it doesn't really matter. 20 grand overall was raised.
well, that's fantastic.
they
and
did
good
a-
for Oz to get their name on the board for something.
He did a
Besides most likely
he did a hell of a
Right.
job. He did a really good job. It was very cute to
I
see.
won't finish that sentence.
It's very
We shouldn't.
Won't you be my neighbor? Because I really can't. Don't have a lot of room to talk.
So anyway, that was fun. The other thing of this week has been a challenge, and I know you've been involved because we talked about it. Computer failures really, really, really suck.
Oh,
and I know
no.
you went through it with your Surface.
Oh, I
tablet?
almost died when that thing went
Yeah.
down. In
So-
fact, I had to buy a new one immediately.
So last Friday afternoon at I believe it was 3:36 p.m.
oh my gosh.
Time of death.
Well, yeah, because
TOD, as we
I
say.
had run an errand and I came back into the house
Gone.
and I looked at my computer screens and that look of hey, your screens look when the computer shut off, and I'm like, was the power out? That's kind of odd. So I looked around and realized no, power had not been out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it just I reviewed camera footage and found out it just died. It literally just did a reboot. I heard a beep and then it died and it wouldn't restart. Multiple searches, Google search, this, that, and the other thing. We tried replacing the power supply. That wasn't it. I have a brand new mother. I have a new motherboard inbound from a place, and that's
very
the final
exciting.
thing. It's literally like a heart transplant.
Yeah.
It's the final thing. So hopefully that'll come back up because
Hopefully it doesn't reject the organ.
without that, I can't at this point post the shows and do any of that editing that I usually do because that setup is all for that. So if we have to recreate the wheel, we will. But otherwise, just computer things suck. So again, fortunately, all my data's backed up. I'm not worried about that.
Right.
But as a reminder to all of you people out there, back up your stuff because you don't know when it's just all going to die. You never know.
I gotta go back up my show tunes immediately.
Oh, you should.
They haven't been backed up in a while.
You should
I know.
always back up.
I
that.
know it worries me every time I take the
I
thing
know
out
it's
and
my
take it
I'm
to the
like,
bar. I'm always
just
like,
set the thing back to factory settings. That fucking shit's in the cloud. Like it'll come back.
Oh, most of my shit is in the cloud. Yeah.
It's all just music.
This-
but I'm
this
afraid
could
I'm afraid the
die.
virus is in the cloud.
No.
Well, that's why I have my data's on a second drive within it. My operating system is on one drive, but also within the operating system there are a lot of programs that are used because that's where they have to reside.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not worried about losing my data. That's
Oh yeah,
good.
I play solitaire and I listen to music.
Okay, you're fine.
I don't even do my checking on there anymore. I just do that on my, you know what I mean?
Do it on your
Right.
phone, right?
They simplified that.
I've got 3 video suites. I've got 2 graphic suites.
Right, exactly. I can't lose any of that.
Can't even use those words in a sentence.
Well, let's.
Oh,
I don't
no,
know.
That's good. I don't know what a graphic suite is. Full sentence.
It's a lot of programs that do all the
Are
graphic
you
things.
obsessed? Is it keeping you up at night? Do you find yourself constantly making references only to be met with blank stares? Obsession. This segment is for you. Obsession. Whether it's musicals, mowers, Motown, Subarus, or Sondheim, it's time to share your obsession. Obsession. With the show with Clayton McKee.
For once, he said Sondheim, a reference earlier, and
Yeah.
you're talking
And
mowers.
mowers.
It made that whole intro completely relevant. How nice.
How is it week after week? I forget this is a segment.
You
Yeah.
do every single week.
Every time it plays, I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't have an obsession. What
In
am I-
fairness, I don't have one either, really.
I might have nothing.
Wow.
I'm watching old episodes of Kimmy Schmidt because I know the new ones are out, but I
Just a little
am
refresher.
watching old ones. Right. Somehow I landed back in the middle of season 2, and I've just said, well, we'll just keep going forward. Why skip?
Two turtle doves. Like, whatever episode
The baby
has.
corns. Listen.
Here's what you should do. A DJ. His poor mother. But that's season 1.
It's season 1. And that's
Oh,
very
you
funny.
mean put on a one-woman show for all my friends to watch? Yeah.
There's no new music. There's no new musical. I got nothing. I got Kimmy Schmidt. And
That's a good one.
T-shirts and the end.
At some point, I'm going to get into the Kimmy Schmidt. I figured it's just going to be one of those things where it'll be raining and I'll be locked in the house, and someday I'm just going to binge watch all of it.
And the rewatch is very fun because there are tiny, tiny little jokes
Oh,
in
yeah.
there that I 100% missed the first time that are just knocking me off of my couch.
Yeah, there's an episode this season that I was just kept getting distracted. So I'm like, all right. And I would catch a joke and be like, oh, that's funny. And then I finally sit down and watch it. And like, they're just flying at you.
So many.
Oh, there's just too many references.
Yeah.
Just fucking wrong. Give it to me straight. That's gross. And the whole thing about the fact that they live in a ship, that the apartment building is really a crash ship, and
This tugboat?
The tugboat.
The
Somebody's
tugboat.
finally gonna find out that it's a tugboat that's crashed and got turned into an apartment building. I mean, there's so many fucked up little running jokes.
Just tiny little ones. I know.
So mine has been Netflix. I've just like
Good choice.
yeah. Between Kimmy Schmidt and finally breaking down and watching the remixed version of Arrested Development, which I thought was just not gonna work because I'm like, work a little harder. Oh,
It works.
it works. And
Good.
it really is. It gets right to the funny. Like, you don't have to like be set up.
Okay.
Now, is the remix version what you were talking about weeks ago, where everybody had to film it at different times and they put it all together? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but they're not like, each person has their own episode. So, and then a
Oh.
couple people have 2, but it's like, it's Michael's Arrested Development. It's Jessica, the C Word. It's Jessica Walters' Arrested Development. So each character has their own episode, and you have to kind of put it together chronologically on your
okay.
own. Well,
Gotcha.
this one they make it just about the regular show, and they split it up so there's not one character. But the funny thing about the other way was the way that they could do it was with Liza Minnelli, because Liza Minnelli had to be in so much of that show to hold the pieces together. Because a lot of times it was not the actor; it was just someone in a wig pretending to be the actor interacting with Liza Minnelli.
Okay.
So this way, they're like, by episode 2, you've already lost a lot on Liza Minnelli, and like the joke of Tobias doing the spin, is that a gal I see? No, it's just a fallacy, and he spins. And you can't figure out why everybody thinks he's gay. And like, that's not in the opening of every episode, so you don't have like, there's a couple places where it loses, but mostly it really was funny. So so that's been mine, and I'm waiting to do the Hulu and the Westworld. I'm waiting for Handmaid's Tale and Westworld.
Westworld is HBO.
Yeah, but I want them to finish because I don't like that week at a time. Like, I need it all released at once.
Sure. I still need to watch season 1. I haven't got there yet. Very busy.
Of which one?
Westworld.
Oh, it's worth it.
No. I refuse to watch The Handmaid's Tale.
That's a thinker.
That's a no.
SNL did a funny thing on that. You?
I was trying to think. Do I have a show obsession? They don't really think I do.
It could be a different thing.
I have been oddly. I'm finding that I do enjoy Jimmy is it Kimmel? He's ABC, right? Jimmy
Yeah.
Kimmel. I'm finding that I enjoy Jimmy Kimmel's humor a lot more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
So, because I've been flipping over and his monologue.
The farther away from the man show he gets, the funnier he gets.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
enjoying that. And also I watched because he had Jodie Foster on last night. His first guest out
Can't
was Jodie
get farther
Foster.
away from the man show than Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster,
Which was
yeah.
which was very interesting because I learned a couple things about Jodie Foster. Obviously, we knew she was on crutches at the Academy Awards. She walked out. She's got a very nice cane, so she's like, the ski accident is eventually going to be healed up. And he's like, "Well, you're going to go back?" She goes, "Well, of course I'm going to go back. Why would?
yeah.
Of course I'll go back on the hills." But I learned a little bit about her from the standpoint of her older sister was always responsible for babysitting her. And what they used to do is they would take Jodie Foster, give her money, and drop her off at a theater at like 10 a.m., like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
They would drop her off, and she would see movies, and she's like, I saw movies that I probably shouldn't have seen because they didn't know what they just dropped her off.
I saw the Missouri Breaks when I was like 10 years old. Should not have seen that movie. Probably 8. I think the Missouri Breaks is like 75.
Yeah.
But it's all that, just go. Just get out of our hair.
Get out of this
So
house.
she was talking about her childhood and how she grew up right there, like just a couple blocks from that studio where they were filming. Her whole life has been in L.A. It just was very interesting to hear her little stories about
And
stuff.
she's the copper tone model. She's...
I think that's correct. She would have... No, wait.
I get it confused. Because somebody
Was it not Bactine?
No,
Camphophonique.
Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields is the Gerber baby, and Jodie Foster is getting the
Coppertone with the little dog,
With
right?
the dog, yeah.
Yes, Coppertone.
That's Jodie Foster.
And then they showed the...
I mean, famous or when she had time to go sit in a movie theater, I don't know, because she was on like My Three Sons. Like she was on every TV show.
She was on everything.
Yeah, she was on
talking
every
about
TV
that.
show I watched as a kid.
Yeah. And one of the questions he asked her was, did you ever get to go were you a viewer and then you got to go be on the show? She goes, oh yeah. She goes, I always thought that was cool. Because, I used to watch all of these shows and all of a sudden, well, I'm on the show. Very cool. She goes, no, I just go home and watch myself.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Like we do here.
Interesting
Throw
stuff.
it in there.
But then they were they showed a clip of her new movie, which I'm sure you're going to be excited to go see. The hotel.
Yeah, Artemis or something
Artemis,
like that.
yeah. Which, they've got her dressed up to look much older than she is. Very interesting. But anyway, I
And
probably
again,
won't.
there's no woman that age Jane Fonda, but she's playing younger.
Yeah, she is. Where Foster's playing older this character. I'm sure there's something else, but I can't recall. It doesn't make a difference right now. Let's see if we can get... I don't know how this is going to go. So this will be interesting to see because there's minimal preparation.
The same amount of preparation as always. None.
We've burned through the hour, though. We made it an hour. That's hour one. That's good. We did it well. Here's
Well, we did it.
these are headlines coming at you. The teaser for hour two. How about $10,000 to move to Vermont?
What a shitty train.
One more try at Me Too.
Flint, Michigan has imposters.
Fucking YouTube.
Oh, it's a really fun story about an assassination attempt.
Oh my gosh. Also, Fudgy the beer
Fuck
coming
you,
to a
dear.
freezer near you.
That sounds awful, and probably another story that sounds awful, and then another one, and another one.
We'll figure them all out because that's what we do.
I found that one.
That's what we do here at Q
Oh,
Talk.
I found my third one too.
Oh,
I do
thank God.
I did have 3.
We'll be right back.
Is it done? Did I do it? Did I win?
You did it! You're done! You won!
I won!
You won!
You're listening to Q Talk America.
Educates, syncopates, radio communicates, radio, the sound of year-round pleasure.
is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
Once again, we are back. It's the beginning of hour 2, right here on Q Talk America. This is Clayton McKee alongside, that's Kat Carlson. Al Perkins is sitting right over there. It's the three of us on a Tuesday night. Aaron from LA is in the chat room. I didn't see him. Hello, Aaron. Welcome. Jenny is there. So many
Summer
people.
and Danielle.
Yeah, there are so many people in there.
Meow Cal. Nero was on at the beginning.
If you missed the first hour, and I can't imagine why you would have, but you were doing something, I'm sure, busy. We spent a lot of time talking about Las Vegas and what's there and what's not there. So you want to listen to that back on the repeats, you're welcome to do so. Programming notes, we are taking a couple of weeks off on later on this month. It's the last 2 Tuesdays of the month. We will be on hiatus. So get your shit together, figure out what you're going to do, but you ain't going to be listening to this show live.
Yeah, well, it's the last two weeks of habitable weather.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Because somewhere around July 1st to July 3rd is when this whole fucking town goes in the soup.
would you consider leaving the big city behind in favor of somewhere a little more scenic? I don't know. Would you think about doing that or no? You want to no?
Yeah.
What if they gave you $10,000 to do it?
I mean,
Every
a
month?
year? How often am I getting this 10 grand?
Yeah.
On Wednesday, Vermont Governor Phil Scott signed a bill into law that would pay people $10,000 if they move to Vermont and work remotely for an employer out of state. The Remote Worker Grant Program will take effect on January 1st of 19 and will help cover moving, living, and working expenses. Grants can be used for relocation, computer software and hardware, broadband internet, and access to co-working spaces. Currently, Vermont has budgeted funds to support 100 grants for the first 3 years and 20 additional workers each year from then on. Grant recipients will receive $10,000 over 2 years that will be distributed on a first-come, first-served basis. The policy is intended to address Vermont's aging population. While the state may be rich in beautiful landscapes and maple syrup, it has a rapidly shrinking tax base, and that's why they're trying to get people to move there.
It's like the Anne Murray fan club. They're just dying off.
Right.
Can't replace them.
We're actually not their demographic then, so it doesn't matter if we do it or not.
Yeah.
They're aiming for 20-somethings right out of college.
Quote, Vermont continues to age and age faster than the nation as a whole, writes Art Wolf for the Burlington Free Press. Over the past quarter of a century, the median age nationally has increased by almost 5 years to 37.8, while Vermont's has increased by 10 years. The trend has made Vermont one of the oldest states in the nation. So that's an incentive if you want to move to beautiful Vermont.
Well, it's good that I have a plan to get there because that's on my last 5 states I've never been to.
Oh, really?
Is Vermont, so I got to go before they all die.
According to this story, they have 16,000 fewer workers than they did back in 2009.
That feels like a lot of people.
I've never been to Vermont. I'm sure it's beautiful. I don't know if I want to move there. God, aren't winters just a bitch though?
I would imagine.
God, I would think so.
Yeah, I'm tacking that onto my
There's
trip
some
in
skiing
July.
to be done there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sure there is. But I'm
If
sure
you
it's
And
enjoy the
everybody
winter
lives in like
sports.
one tiny little corner. Like that's one of those that like there's 20 people in the rest of the state, and like everybody lives in that one little
in that
corner.
one city. I can't think of
And
the
I
name of the
feel
city.
like Montpelier. Is that Vermont?
That feels right. That seems okay.
I feel like that's the capital.
Yeah,
And there might be one other big city, but I can't think of it in Vermont.
but nobody knows it. Sure.
Well, that's very interesting. I'm curious to see how this works out for them because I can see them moving tech companies who can work remotely, like CEOs and people for tech companies who aren't based there.
Right, but
they could totally have a.
So then you got people that just stay in their house, like.
Well, in the winters they want to anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but they're paying sales tax.
like you in the
they're
summer.
paying gas tax. They're paying.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're paying taxes. Like,
Yeah.
just living
That's
there. You
all
pay
they
a whole
want.
bunch of
That's
taxes.
all they
That's
want
what
them to do. Pay taxes.
Huh.
Got to build a bridge or fix a street somewhere. So they got to have tax money
Yeah.
to do it.
I am curious to go because I know the Von Trapps are still there and maple syrup. So
Oh,
beyond,
I would also guess
Two things I greatly enjoy.
something we talk about here often is with regards to the school taxes that we paid though. Well, granted, you have 2 kids, but we don't. But still, paying the school taxes and amongst other taxes we have to pay. I wonder how their school system is because clearly, with an older generation or older
who's giving
population, right? Their schools are probably just like 4
they're
people.
back to the Laura Ingalls
don't know
one
that this
schoolroom.
I don't know that this is a hard and fast rule, but it's like in the back of my brain that a lot of school funding comes from property taxes, so homeowners.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Burlington is the city. Burlington, Vermont. That's one I couldn't think of.
Oh, home of the coat factory.
Yeah. Yes.
Is that the motherland for the coat factory?
I believe so.
I would assume so.
I'm sure there's
Can't be a
another
lot of-
Burlington. Well, there's a Burlington, Ontario, and I always thought that the coat factory was out of there. I
Oh.
wasn't thinking about
They
the
might be
U.S.
Canadian.
Yeah, who knows? Dirty fucking Canadians. Although,
Where's our cartographer? Can you find all of the Burlingtons in the country for us, please?
I
We'd
just
like
wrote
to-
those two.
We'd like to know how many Burlingtons
Staff
there
cartographer.
are.
And if you're not sure where Vermont is, if you look at up in the upper right corner where it
Oh,
says
it's blue. It's a lovely
Phoenix,
blue. Look.
Arizona, and you look directly down, the blue, almost upside down triangle that says VT, that's Vermont.
And it used to be its own country for many years. It's not one of.
Oh,
the,
I didn't really.
Is it a Commonwealth?
I
Or is
don't
it
think
now a
it's a
state?
commonwealth. It's now a state, but it was its own country a little bit longer than everybody else was.
Huh, good on them.
That might be the one that you don't count as the 13 colonies,
There you go.
because there's
Western.
Oh, I don't know.
how there's the Maine isn't part of the
Isn't
13
a colony,
colonies because
right.
Maine was part of Massachusetts. But Vermont was its own country. The Verde Mountains. It was like green Verde land or something.
Sure.
The Republic of Verde. I don't know, something about green.
Well,
There's
Oh.
something.
I don't even know.
I used to be so snotty about that 13 colonies thing, and now I don't remember either. I mean, it's been like hundreds of years since I.
that was the only thing you were snotty about? I'm sure there's a
Why
list.
pick just one?
Let's go straight from snotty to shitty.
Yeah, okay. I've done that before.
The other end of the elephant.
Yep. I don't know if you've heard about this. It's apparently been going on for quite some time. Alabama's poop train. Nope.
I think I
Haven't
have.
heard
No, I have heard about this.
Well,
From New York?
yes, from New
Yeah.
York. So the mayor of the tiny town of Parrish, Alabama, has posted Wednesday on Facebook that train cars carrying human waste from New York City were finally emptied and cleared and should be removed soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had a shit train sitting
Right.
outside their city for quite some time, or their town. I suppose it's a town.
So this
There's
is an update. I
less
like
than
this.
less than 1,000 people live there. Yeah, the cars had been sitting idle for more than 2 months after a neighboring county went to court to block the train's passage. The mayor writes, "I know this situation took longer than anyone, especially myself, had hoped it would take, but it has come to an end." The town of 982 residents, which is northwest of Birmingham. I wanted to say Burlington. But nope. Birmingham gained notoriety and became the butt of several jokes after complaining that the smell from the train was making the outdoors unbearable, sending the odor
can't
of
imagine.
excrement wafting whichever way the wind was blowing.
Oh, and can you imagine the fly? Like everything. All of it.
Well.
Horrible.
Parish resident Robert Nash says to an NBC affiliate, "I can't come out here and barbecue like I used to. I know the flies were getting in my house."
Oh.
That's right. Before the train cars were emptied, about 10 million pounds of human waste were on the train.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I remember saw it on the news. Saw it,
Yeah.
yeah.
They came from waste management facilities in New York, and the train was supposed to go through Jefferson County, but the town of West Jefferson had obtained an injunction. They said, "No more of your shit." Arguing in court earlier this year that the loading and unloading of the containers violated its zoning laws. Unfortunately, Parrish, Alabama, has no such laws.
Now I don't know where. I know where it comes from. Came from New York. I know they were shipping it there. Now my question was, where was it supposed to go, and what was the plan?
Sure. About 20 miles from Parrish, Alabama,
the
there's
story
a-
continues.
I have all the information
Look at
today.
you,
Good
Cap.
follow-up question.
There's a private landfill about 20 miles from Parrish, Alabama, that made a deal with New York Sanitation to accept their waste, because New York, there's a law that says that New York can no longer dump their shit into the ocean, literally. And so they have to.
That seems like a super good idea.
Well, and so now they have to pay private landfills to accept it. So this Big Sky Environmental has been accepting, quote, biosolids from New York. Shit.
Right,
Just
right,
shit.
right.
Oh, and say that name again. The name of the company.
Big
Solid?
Sky Environmental.
Big Sky
Oh.
Environmental. Because the nicer the name sounds, the literally
Yeah.
shittier the business is.
Right. They'd been accepting biosolids from New York since last year, but New York said it would stop sending shipments there, at least for now.
And
Yeah. Experts say that several cities send their waste to Alabama and other southern states due to low landfill fees and lax zoning laws.
Just another reason to enjoy the deep south in the summer.
Yeah. Go head on down to the south.
When you said shipping, I went immediately.
Ship my pants. Right here? Ship
So
my pants. You're
convenient.
kidding. You can ship your pants right here. You hear that? I can ship my pants for free. Wow.
So convenient.
And then send the pants and everything to Alabama.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but New York City has set a goal of sending zero waste to landfills by 2030. They've got some time. But they're just not there.
Never go to the bathroom again.
Well, my curiosity is, I mean, obviously we all live in cities. Like, I understand sewer systems. I know how a lot of this stuff works. But I'm thinking, obviously, in a larger city, they must have some sort of a sewage treatment plant. Now, I don't know what the hell New York or did they just have a small one?
Affectionately called the Turd Works.
Well, you would wonder, like, what if this is septic tanks and stuff like that have to be like filled and then have to go somewhere else? You know what I mean?
Right, but it sounds to me like it's the whole city's waste. I don't know what they're doing.
So it does go to the sanitation department and a treatment plant, and then you know what I mean? They essentially pull the water out of the waste and compact it, and so it's just waste.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's your.
I think this could be burned or something. I figure like there's some way to make it fuel.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, somebody will think of it.
You can make algae now.
That's true. You can build a fire out of cow pies. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
You totally can.
Yeah.
Doesn't smell real good, but
I mean, no.
You need fire.
But yeah, you got to do it.
Who knows? I can't solve all those issues.
I would just like to know more about the story. Like I want to ask the questions that this news isn't telling you.
Right.
That's
Well, you have to think that like a city of what are we 5 million people now, or 2.5 million something? Like it's all flushes somewhere. Is it just buried in the desert somewhere? Like
probably.
And then don't we eventually just run out of places to put? Don't we displace the poop that keeps coming with people? Like eventually, is there no more?
There's got to be a solution.
Or does that break down? Like, do you wait for it to like naturally break down into whatever else it breaks down into and makes grass grow or something? I don't know.
Food.
We're at the very limits of my knowledge of civic sanitation.
But it's one of those things where you can't let your mind wander too long, because all of a sudden you'd be like, wait, where does that all go?
Where does it go?
For some reason, I think there's a new segment called Civic Sanitation with Kat Carlson.
Here's what I learned.
I like it.
This is it, and we've reached the limits of it.
Yeah, Tim says maybe we can get teens to eat it. They ate Tide Pods. They're not discerning. Or build Adobe homes out of shit and straw. Hey. It worked for Laura Ingalls Wilder. I read that book.
Don't
set on fire.
It's all high and mighty on the Tide Pod people. Imagine the shit you did when you were 16, and imagine that it was all on video.
I wasn't eating soap, though.
Eating soap.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I can raise the bar slightly from here.
Slightly.
Yeah.
I may have sniffed too much gasoline out of a tank because I enjoyed it once or twice.
See?
But
This one's huffing gas over
other than
here.
that,
nobody put it on Snapchat, though.
Thank God.
there was no snapping, and I wasn't chatting with anybody.
See?
Yeah.
Segue to the next story.
You always know those huffers. So anyways, just an update on Vermont, in case you were wondering. It was the Vermont Republic.
Is it still for lovers?
It is. Now they're all for love. It's Virginia. Virginia is for lovers.
I thought Vermont was for lovers.
It was an independent state during the American Revolutionary War, and in 1791 became the 14th state. And
Good for
it's
them.
only one of 4 U.S. states that were previously sovereign states, along with California, Hawaii, and Texas, that were their own countries first. That part I knew from a trivia question, but I got wrong. Because it was one of those ones where I was all cocky because it was U.S. geography.
Like
then
Vegas?
Then they then they were like, name the 4 Commonwealths. And I'm like, 4? I didn't know there was 4. I thought it was 2.
Right.
Turns out there's 4, and I know I can't remember the 4th one either. But then the other one was name the 4 states that used to be their own countries. And I was like, it's only 3. What the fuck's the 4th one?
Right.
And you don't think to look in the, the beginning colony area. No! Who knew you could shop there? Okay, so this story's been kind of funny, but I have to find out.
It's a little bit funny.
No, it's not that story.
This feeling inside.
Okay,
feel,
this
yes.
inside, yeah. So there was a really funny story
Just
last.
have a karaoke show.
Yeah. Just
Perfectly
riff
legitimate.
lines.
Last Tuesday, there was a very sad story where a prominent Putin critic in Ukraine was assassinated. A reporter was assassinated. His wife found his body. He was shot through the back, taken to the morgue. There was a big outrage over the shooting of a reporter. And then the next day, he appeared at a press conference alive, and then it was a sting operation for the people that were setting up assassinations of critics. So now the strange cast of characters emerging in the faked assassination of a prominent Putin critic, including a Russia-hating right-wing priest and the director of a Ukrainian arms manufacturer, set the already bizarre case on a path to a murky, up-is-down mess of the sort that Ukraine seems to specialize in. Both the priest and the executive claim to be working for Ukraine's intelligence services. Ukrainian officials at first denied that, but in the case of the priest, subsequently reversed themselves and admitted that Donald Trump wrote the letter for his son. Oh, I'm sorry, different story. Admitted that he had played a role. Senior Ukrainian officials have been in the defensive since Wednesday when the head of the security services and the chief prosecutor announced that they had staged the shooting death of a dissident Russian war correspondent in order to trace his would-be killers back to Russian intelligence. However, in the absence of solid facts and real evidence about any plot to kill the dissident, somewhat implausible figures have emerged from the shadows, possibly the most unlikely being the priest, who claimed he was hired to carry out the hit. So this Oleksiy, once a monk and a deacon in the Ukrainian Orthodox Church who used the clerical name Shur, wrote on his Facebook page that he was the man who went to the authorities after being hired to kill Mr. Babchenko. The cleric has never made a secret of his longstanding antipathy towards Russia, fighting Russian-backed militants in eastern Ukraine and switching his religious affiliation from the Russian Orthodox to a breakaway branch of the Orthodox Church that has declared its independence from Moscow. Don't worry, they're coming to get you. Pictures on his Facebook page show him in green combat fatigues, including a patch from the right sector. Anyways, it's just this whole fucked up story, and every day that you go back to read it, there's more people involved, and they never found who they were after in staging it. And then the reporter is joking about the fact that he got away from the hitmen that were trying to come in to kill him, and like, well, you're standing right there. They're just going to come back and kill you again, and no one's going to believe it.
Oh, no.
Unless the story changed. They actually showed the footage of them nailing the guy in front of the building. The guy that they were trying to do the sting operation showed up.
Right, but he wasn't attached to who they wanted it to be. It didn't go back to Putin. It went back to the priest.
Oh, okay. My bad.
You know what I mean?
Bad.
Like, the story didn't... They did catch somebody. They just didn't catch who they were after. So now this guy is on TV bragging about the fact that he outsmarted Putin, and they're like...
Careful.
Nope. We caught these clowns.
Yeah.
And you just have to wonder, like, is it real? Well, and, like, the first day, they were talking about that it was all over, that his wife was unaware of it, and that she found him dead at the bottom of the stairs, and how awful that would be. Well, then, I think yesterday, the day before, it came out that she was in on it from the beginning.
Oh, no, I hadn't heard that part.
Yeah, that she's been in on it.
Because he came out and apologized to his wife for putting her through it. And at the press conference where he walks in, and all the media's like... He's like, they freaked out as he walked in.
Yeah.
So he apologized to his wife and does all this. Oh, so she's in on it now.
She's in on it, yeah. So, I mean,
they're all going to die now.
So it's a fun international story, but
there's not enough red string in the world.
They'll
Pod Save America says that all the time. There's not enough red string.
Yeah, to tape it all together.
So
wow, funny how the story slowly I turn. Well, we're going to take it from staged murder to a staged police officer. Authorities say police impersonators have been fooling police, firefighters, and the public for 3 years in and around Flint, Michigan. The Flint Journal reports the impersonators are members of a group calling itself the Genesee County Fire and EMS Media.
Okay.
Genesee County Task Force Blight Agency. They're acting as police at parks, house fires, and vehicle crashes and crime scenes. Genesee County Prosecutor David Layton authorized charges against 3 people this week, including unlawful imprisonment. In one case, the impersonators allegedly handcuffed 2 different people. Court records say that they are at least 5 other potential defendants in this case. Layton says the individuals sometimes were the first to arrive at a scene, and the real police would ask them to perform tasks unbeknownst that they weren't real. An investigation started after a complaint about a rude Genesee County park ranger who turned out to be an imposter. Set this whole story on fire, and now they're trying to figure out what all these people have been involved in while impersonating officers. Crazy.
Wow.
We've been through that here in Phoenix. You know, we've had a few different people impersonate officers and pull people over on streets and highways.
Oh, that's all over the country. That's a sick plot.
That's a crazy thing, which is part of a story, which goes back to a part of a story that I was telling you a couple of weeks ago, wherein the Lyft drivers in town, and I guess they've made a reach out to Lyft and you're trying to make them stop the color changing things that they have in their car.
Oh, it can't be red or blue.
It can't be red or blue.
We talked about that right here on the show last week.
We did. I brought it up.
Breaking news here on
So no, but what I'm saying is I'm just saying it reflects back to that. So impersonators, they're just here locally. That came, I assume that would have to be nationwide because I think that's kind of a law everywhere.
Right, like a universal.
Like you can't, like in Vermont, I'm pretty sure you can't drive a car with red and blue flashing lights on the front of it.
Vermont's very independent. Don't get them wrong.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if they offer you $10,000, they may let you.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And so combining the two stories, if you ever have time, Russian dash cams.
Oh my God, those are
there
amazing.
are so many false insurance claims in Russia, and it became a thing of like throwing yourself in front of someone's car just to collect insurance money. That it's standard now on just about every car in Russia to have a dash cam. So that's why like that meteor that fell to the earth over Russia. That's why it was on everybody's
cam. That's why everybody
because
had it, right?
Oh, okay.
They're just ready for it. They all have their dash cams running. But so once you see the cool stuff like explosions or meteors, then you have to just go watch people trying to catch somebody off guard that doesn't have a dash cam by like throwing themselves in front of a car. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
Trying to like fake an accident, and they're like, no, I have one of those cameras, and the person just gets up and walks away when they find out. They're like, God damn it!
But I don't
God damn it!
You drive an awful lot because you live far from work, so you trek back and forth.
Far away. It's true.
Yeah, and I know you don't drive that often, but you do drive in Central Phoenix all the time. With the little driving that I currently have to do, it probably would be a good idea just to have one of those cameras because you just see crazy shit all the time.
Yeah.
People it's insane what they do.
Oh, and it's everywhere.
No, I realize it's everywhere, but I'm like, when you think about it, you're like, it's always been said, when you drive somewhere, it's not you that I'm worried about, it's everybody else. Well, no shit.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is crazy.
And how many times you've been like,
they're
where
all
are the
ready to
cops
die.
now? Where are the cops to pull over that motherfucker?
Where are they when you need them?
Citizens arrest, like they used to do on Batman.
I don't mind them driving fast. It's the just determined to die that bothers me. Like, don't die in front of me. Do it behind me.
Like the running of stale yellow lights. Just stop your car.
Just stop. Right.
Yeah.
That's the one that's like, you just put like 4 corners at risk.
Yeah.
Because you want to be somewhere 10 seconds. The next light's turning red. I can see it from here.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere.
We're all gonna end up the same place at the same time. No, the pinball weavers is what gets me. The ones that are like this close to hitting everybody. I'm like,
that and those
Don't
fucking
die in
motorcycles
front
that
of me.
zip in and out everybody.
Yeah.
And in California, you can pass between 2 cars on a motorcycle. That's
horrible.
An invisible lane. I'm like, I mean, I'm gonna be sorry when I smush you like a bug between another car, but what the fuck are you doing?
When the few times I've had to drive in LA traffic and that happens and it just comes out of nowhere, scares the shit out of me every time.
Crotch rockets coming at you.
But the 3 pictures you sent me, oddly, one of them is really small. The one for Macbeth is really small.
Oh, well,
I don't know why.
I will.
Can you resend it and see if it'll make it?
Yeah, I'll try and resend. I'm gonna do a different story just in case you hadn't had time to get those anyway.
Okay,
so I'll resend it in a second.
That'll be exciting for me.
Won't that be? we were assigned 3 stories, and I listened to the assignment today. So today,
only because of Marnie's absence today. That's all.
I mean,
anyway,
I listen when I'm given directions.
Carry on, my wayward son.
Sometimes. It is, I don't know if you've noticed, if you've been on any kind of fucking social media, you've certainly noticed, it's apparently Pride Month for the rest of the world.
Oh, it is. I've seen it.
Ugh, so many rainbows. However, celebrations at YouTube appear to be lukewarm at best. The video streaming platform, which has long been a haven for independent LGBTQ, etc. creatives.
And the rest.
Has recently been accused by users and channels of running advertisements by anti-LGBTQ, etc. brands alongside creator content.
Etc.
It's the best part of that whole show. Etc. Screenshots and videos of YouTube advertisement by Alliance Defending Freedom. You know, if it says freedom in the title,
it's got to be good.
Yeah.
Freedom, family.
Yeah. Environment. Nope.
Nope. None of those. But Twitter is alive with these. Alliance Defending Freedom is, of course, a legal firm that has historically fought against LGBTQ etc.
Etc.
legislation, including debates around transgender bathroom use, same-sex marriage, and the right of LGBTQ, etc. couples to adopt children. These are the people that are fighting against us, and now they're putting ads on YouTube, and they seem to be appearing alongside a lot of LGBT content. I know this is a problem for YouTube and their focused advertising. Fucking advertising. Ugh. I know some instances of the advertising ran against unrelated content, including videos from BuzzFeed, Samantha Bee, and video game creators and the people that play Minecraft so that my kids can watch it. I don't fucking understand it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. They do it all the time. I don't know.
Yeah, I am not the target audience for that.
However, there are stories upon stories upon stories of LGBTQ, etc.
So far.
Content creators that keep getting either demonetized, like they're out there like accepting the advertising, but now they're being kind of kicked off because they're objecting to the advertising because it's these alliance defending freedom fuckers. I don't know. Yeah, and it's a problem for the algorithm altogether. You know what I mean? And it's a really interesting thing. It's really kind of a nerdy thing and not a very funny thing to talk about, but it's a really interesting thing to watch these platforms kind of grapple with how to deal with this advertising and how to deal with.
Yeah, that is interesting.
You know what I mean? The evils that are, because these alliance defending freedom people have paid their money and they've chosen their keywords and their buzzwords and whatever.
And it leads them right to the
right.
Larry has a happy day making up dresses for his class.
Right, and they
YouTube channel.
Right, so you're watching, some trans person's transition blog and having a lovely time, and all of a sudden the ad pops up and it's
hate crime.
It's pray the gay away camps, and it's
homo
hateful things. So I don't know. It's worth mentioning, and it's just an interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting that the
to watch.
The algorithm would lead you to the same place because your target audience is
sure, because you target a lot of times by keyword, and you can't specifically, like, all of these YouTube and Facebook specifically have supposedly policies in place that you can't specifically target people based on
hate.
Sure, you know what I mean. You can't just target the gay community. For good or for bad. You can't just target them. You have to find another way to reach the demographic that you're looking for. You can't just say, hey, show this to all the gay people that I know. You can't do that.
Oh, really? Because I would think something like, let's just use Bud Light, because Bud Light is clearly a very friendly product within the LGBT
Then you'd go with
community.
bars, and like you would find your way there through a different algorithm.
Oh, I just would think that they would permit them. I want to reach gay people from 18 to 35. And I would think that they would have a way to generally get you there. I would think.
Right. They're going to drive the car, but they're going to get their target audience is going to be the same as the hate groups to make those same people feel bad about themselves. So they're driving the car to the same place.
I guess I missed the portion of the program where they're trying to make them feel bad about themselves as opposed to.
No, it's just a lucky coincidence that these ads are showing up at the same place because the bus driving them at a certain point gets on the same road, and like one's trying to do good things, one's trying to do bad things, but that weird algorithm at some point locked up.
Ooh.
Well, I think the
kind of like lesbians and cat lovers. Eventually, those two.
Eventually, they're the same people.
Venn diagrams are just be one circle. Yeah.
Venn diagram.
It's our joke. We're sticking to it.
We did it first.
Yep.
Okay, the end.
Same. I mean, it's the same concept. Yeah. So we'll go with So Bill Clinton had a bad day in the news the other day.
Did
Yesterday.
He just put a book out.
Yes.
That's part of the problem.
He put a book out, and he went on an NBC. He went on
the Today Show.
On the Today Show Monday, and it was a real we're gonna ask you specific questions like, what do you regret about the Monica Lewinsky thing? And then as part of the Me Too movement, they asked him about apologizing to Monica Lewinsky, and he was a little bit vague about it. And then I thought he clarified it quite well.
Okay.
He said, I have never seen her again to apologize to her in person, but I've apologized publicly. And they were like, well, would you apologize? And it just kind of got muddled of his I've never really had the chance, and I think this is over. Like, is this, like, why are we going over this again? Like, it's been a part of my life for 20 years. It's been about, like, it was kind of like, why do you keep digging? I thought that was enough. Well, it came off as tone deaf to some, and in watching it, to me, it just seemed like we just want to, like, punch a little bit, and it's something that's done, and I really thought, I've never seen her again. I apologize to her in public. Never seen her in private.
That seems.
It seemed legitimate, and I was like, I think
Should
we
I
can
have
all,
sent a fruit basket?
yeah, like mini muffins. What's the best thing? So tonight, I guess he will be on Colbert.
Mm-hmm.
Is his name Colbert or Colbert?
It's really Colbert, but
Isn't that funny?
But he says Colbert. He did it.
Well, no, it was a Colbert show, but that was a fake persona.
Right, but he stuck with it. But his father and him had a conversation about it because it's Colbert.
Okay.
But he's like, no, I'm going to use Colbert. And he's like, do what you want.
I was just wondering, like, did he keep that part up? And needed to address the elephant in the room right away. Clinton's controversial comments a day earlier about Monica Lewinsky and the hashtag #MeToo movement. Promoting his book, Clinton was asked on the Today Show to reconsider his affair with Lewinsky in the context of the #MeToo movement and whether it would be received differently. Clinton accused NBC News of manipulating facts in the line of questioning, reiterated that he did the right thing, and agreed that even in today's context, his relationship with Lewinsky would not be an issue beyond the initial fallout, because she has said it was consensual. Whether it was appropriate or not, she has never said anything was done to her.
She was on board. Sure.
Yeah. She was a part of this in bad taste.
A willing adult participant. Sure.
Yeah, willing adult participant. He also indicated he hadn't apologized to her directly and saw no need, comments which drew significant backlash. But you can't apologize to someone that you like. Why would you, just because someone else outed the affair and kind of like ruined both of your, like, you had an affair. Like, we all can't go back and apologize to someone that we fucked around with and maybe it didn't go the way we were supposed to, or like nothing's. I think this is where I think we're steering somewhere.
Well, she was one of the first like mob victims of social media.
Right, and that part, honestly. Someone need. I mean, and people like, is it Vanity Fair that's now apologizing? Some big magazine is completely apologizing for how many times they
ran that story.
Ran some cover thing about Monica. Don't be the Monica Lewinsky at your job. Like, just kept her name as a verb for way too long. I can't remember what magazine. But this is one of those things where like it was a consensual affair in bad taste. Maybe, I don't know.
The one of the things that when I watched the interview, I thought. One of the tone deaf portions of that was when he immediately changed it around where he was the victim and I was $16 million in debt. I don't know. There was a lot of tone deaf about it. Like, well,
there was a little bit of tone deafness in that he had an affair, a consensual affair. Everyone said yes and consented to it. He got taken to trial, to court, impeached about a blowjob. About
lying about the blowjob.
Right. But it all stems from a blowjob. So, and that's my thing.
But up until now, our presidents were not allowed to lie.
Right. No, and
we changed that rule.
If they got caught in a lie, there were repercussions.
It was a problem, right?
Now,
but this one was under oath. He did perjure himself under oath. Right. It wasn't just the interview. Mm-hmm. It was the fact that the interview was under oath. So there is a perjury thing, but it certainly is not for a blowjob. And so, yes, he took a lot of heat and a lot of political backlash, and could have helped his wife lose an election over a handy from a blowjob from an underling. I mean, it's just one of those stories. Like, let this motherfucker die. Like, it was a consensual affair. The problems that we're having are people being touched without consent. People being bullied at their job. Was she? She doesn't seem to. Her anger isn't at him. Like, it seems to be at like the assault she took from the rest of the world.
Oh, Monica Lewinsky's?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and Nero says that she wasn't a victim. She was a victim, but not of Bill Clinton's.
Right.
She was a victim of the rest of us.
Right.
And say us, because you know damn well that you made a Monica Lewinsky joke. You laughed at it. You forwarded that fucking email.
All those things.
You did all of those things.
So, and he says that when I saw the interview, I thought that because they had to, distill it, it looked like I was saying that I didn't apologize and I had no intention to. And he was mad at himself for that. It wasn't his finest hour. I meant it then, I mean it now. I've had to live with the consequences every day since. So, and I think that answer just stands, though. Like, I've never seen her again. How many people have we had sex with that you've never seen again? God bless all of them, because those are my favorite ones. You know what I mean? you know,
Right.
I'd like to apologize for having stale toast in the morning, but I never saw you again. So, I mean, it's an interesting. Right, yeah, as Tim says, only a victim of the press, and all of us, and everyone laughing. And just watching I, Tonya, and finding out like what it's like to be just the absolute butt of every joke for like news
20 years.
cycle after news cycle, and the only thing that got them off the hook was O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Isn't that how that movie? No, it's the Menendez brothers. The Menendez brothers are the one. Somehow those three stories.
Oh, you're right.
Somehow the
they
Menendez.
kicked her off the
They're all the
headlines.
same time.
Somehow the Menendez, the OJ, and Tanya thing all intersect somewhere in 24-hour news, and they all kicked each other out of the cycle until OJ just ran the world for a year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
There's
Yeah.
that.
So there you go.
Okay, transitioning.
Oh,
not really
you're
well.
a national treasure. Look at you, Al Perkins.
Thank God.
How
we haven't.
kind people
We
are.
haven't. Carvel, the ice cream maker known for cakes like Fudgy the Whale and cookies and Cookie Puss, is
Thai cake.
is pairing up with a brewer to create a cake and a beer.
Nope.
Captain Lawrence Brewing Company's Fudgy the Beer is a take on Carvel's Fudgy the Whale ice cream cake that it's formed in the shape of a whale. The stout beer is brewed with the ice cream cake maker's signature chocolate and fudge and is about 6% alcohol by volume. The brewery says the beer pairs very well with smoked foods and chocolate desserts.
Okay.
The
So
brewer
it's just a beer. It's not
It's
an
a beer.
ice cream
No,
cake made out of beer.
it's a beer. The brewer is also creating
All right.
milkshakes based on the combination.
Wait. Too far.
Quote, it's our
Back it up.
childhood and adulthood all in one, the brewer's the website says. The first batch of Fudgy the Beer sold out and the second batch will be available this coming Friday. The beer is available only at Captain Lawrence's Beer Hall in Elmsford, New York.
Here's what happens when you mix your adulthood and your childhood. Bad things.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Fudgy the Beer. Sounds like just the puppet that really should never have been on
Yeah.
Sesame Street.
But
I'm always against the beer float. Like the root beer float, but with actual beer. I'm always against it.
Yeah, I've
Root
never
beer
had one
float, go bananas. Do
I've
your
never
thing.
had one with actual beer.
beer. Oh, me neither. That's a thing?
What's the thing?
Oh, no.
And I'm against it.
No, I'm against
Somehow
that.
I just think that just can make the
Yeah.
beer squirts later just that much worse.
If I could go back in time and go back to obsession, my obsession recently actually is chocolate ice cream. And let me tell you how not to ruin that. Don't put alcohol in your ice cream, people.
Yeah, it's a standalone treat. It works marvelously.
Ice cream is its own wonderful creation. It's its own miracle. You don't need to add to it. Ice cream equals happy.
I
end.
have rode my bike every day this week at 105 plus. So you know what I did yesterday? I got a motherfucking Frosty because I'm like, bitch, it's hot
Ooh.
outside.
I
Bring your core
love
temperature
Frosties.
down a little bit.
It was just good medicine. Let's just say it.
Yeah. I'm
And-
not kidding. I've been like everyday ice cream for, I don't know, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was having.
After
give a
after
damn.
105, ice cream is on the table. It is a
Right.
part of any healthy
It
diet.
is mandatory
I do enjoy ice cream.
consumption. Yeah. Chocolate's the only flavor that I officially recognize.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just like a vivid vanilla. I just
Okay.
like a vanilla.
That's very nice.
I like
Yeah, they're very
cookies and
crispy
cream.
Oh,
very
I'm not
nice.
opposed to. Not
Very
opposed.
nice.
But I like a double scoop of plain chocolate and cookies and cream
Yeah.
with cookies and cream on top so that chocolate mixes with the cone and it's delicious.
Mm.
Because that melty chocolate ice cream with the cone,
See,
tits.
if we're going to
Tits.
Cold Stone, here's what we're doing. We're doing chocolate ice cream with Oreos and then strawberries. Smashing all that
It's like a
together.
salad.
It basically, it is a salad.
It is a strawberry
Oh.
chocolate ice cream salad. But one of my favorite parts from my childhood was the Carvel ice cream cake commercials. And at some point you got to pull up to see if there's any on YouTube. I haven't thought in all these years to look up the Carvel ice cream cake commercials. But the Father's Day cake, which is the same as the whale cake,
Uh-huh.
it's just a tie.
Right.
Those were the best, and we used to order those for like any day of the week, and we would get with the double crunchies inside, so they had to make it up special for
Oh,
us. Extra crunchies.
We have to
I
find
have no
it.
idea what those crunchies thing are in the.
Nobody
in the middle.
knows, but we love them. Up until recently, Fry's carried a basic Carvel
Yeah.
Happy Birthday
Mhm.
ice cream cake, and it's kind of mandatory in our house because we have 2 birthdays very close to each other in March, and so it's too much cake. Like you can't cake that much. So one gets a cake and one gets an ice cream cake. But yeah, those crunchies.
It's the only cake I want for my birthday.
Which
is
commercial did you want?
The Father's Day. Do they have the Father's Day cake or the Fudgy the Whale
Well,
cake?
the Fudgy the Whale cake is here. I've got that.
Just know that in his voice when he says it, that on Father's Day they would run a special that they would tell you it's the same cake as the whale cake, in his voice. And so when you were, you know, a little bit fucked up and staring at the Fudgy the whale cake, you'd be like, same as the Thai cake.
Stand by. I'm gonna get us to.
Are we gonna watch it?
Well, yeah, it's gonna take me a second to bring it up.
That's
But
all right.
I'll get there for
Take
this.
your time. Take your time. I do enjoy.
My
an ice
dad
cream
used to
cake.
eat pickles and ice cream. I have heard of that mostly from
Pregnant women. I
Pregnant
would
women.
think.
That's kind of like the
Well, you got your
sweet and salty.
Yeah,
Salty,
I like,
yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
Mama don't eat pickles, so I don't know about that.
Listen, I survived for about half of the last week on cashews and gummy worms. So the sweet and salty.
Oh yeah, I'll get you the sweet and salty one way or
I'm
another,
there-
just
I'm
not
there
with
all
a
day
pickle.
long.
Can't do it with pickle. So in California, the heart of the progressive
Oh, look at you.
resistance to President Donald Trump, it is Democrats, not Republicans, who are most concerned that a swell of liberal energy could blow their shot, and they don't want to blow their shot, House majority this year.
Do not throw
assuming
away your
office,
shots.
yeah, Trump has declared war on California, challenging the state's stance on sanctuary cities, offshore drilling, and the fuel efficiency standards, and accusing the mayor of Oakland of obstructing justice. Trump's actions have been met by a surge of progressive activism in the state. I can't read. And Democrats are hoping that the state's June 5th, that's today, primary will deliver an opening blow at the ballot box that would send a message to Trump and eventually deprive Republicans of their majority in the House of Representatives in November. But the plan has collided with reality of the way California's primary works. The top two vote-getters will advance the November contest regardless of party, and the churning anti-Trump fervor in the Golden State has been a double-edged sword in several key races, and I think it's the one against Nunez that this is the one that really they
jerk.
might, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll find out in an hour.
I have results, so finish your story.
Oh,
I
the polls closed 52
8.
minutes ago.
Yeah, I have beginning results. So
Okay.
I've got a couple of things where like 1% reporting,
very
but
cool,
I
Tim.
can tell you things.
Kim's husband is working a poll location.
Oh,
That's
very
cool.
good. So, we'll talk about the Nunez one. So many people, right? Isn't his name?
Do you know what district that
Devin
is?
Nunez.
Devin Nunez. I
Uh-huh.
do not, but it's probably the. He has met with so much resistance that there are so many Democrats running against him that to finish in the top two, the Democratic vote is now split
Oh,
over
it's
like
split too much.
They may
six.
shut each other out.
They might shut each other out, and he might end up being the top vote getter
So
because
that's
no one's running against
District 22. And right now, with 10% of districts reporting, Devin Nunez has 56% of the vote, and challenger Andrew Jans has 34%. So, again, we're only 10% reporting.
But what is
so that top
what
two,
party does the second person belong
Democrat.
to? Okay, because
Yeah.
the worry is that whoever they threw in with him would get enough of a vote. Head to head, he'll probably lose.
So against Devin Nunez in this primary are 3 Democrats, an independent, and a libertarian.
Right. So, but
So
And two
odds are,
turtle
but the
doves.
odds are we're
Democrats
gonna
went
get a
down from
Democrat.
6 to 3.
Right.
The odds have lowered, but I thought they threw a second Republican in there to siphon off votes for the Never Trumpers. Okay, so that one has changed some. There is, so Aaron is one of the 110 people left off the voter rolls and had to use a provisional.
110,000
10,000.
people.
So there's all kinds of weirdness going on out there, but there's another race like that. So let's see if we can find the other
I was
one.
just say I've got them in numerical order, so if you shout a district number at me, I can help you.
Congressman Ed Royce's seat.
Okay,
Wasn't a number, but she'll
it's
find
okay.
it.
I know how to Google.
Dude, you're a Googler.
I am a Googler. Oh, he's the 39th. Here we go.
So, and he might be the one where he's running against like a slew of people.
California 39th has less than 1% reporting right now, so I feel like there's not anything, and there's a shit ton of fucking people there.
Right. So that's
Wait, that's the 39th? Oh, but he's not running again.
Oh, he's one of the R's that dropped out?
Yeah, he must have dropped out because he's not on this list. I'm looking at the New York Times, and he's not on this list. Less than 1% reporting. Yeah, so this is a really scary district because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 people in this race. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Republicans, 6 Democrats, like 2 independents, and 2 other people from weird parties. Yeah, so that's a really fun one to watch because that is craziness.
That is crazy. And so if all they have to do is get 2 Republicans to win the primary,
and then they shut out the Democrats
and then
entirely.
they shut out, and then there's no chance. And that was the easiest one to win because it was just redistricted. Like it just switched over. So
Yeah.
Devin Nunes, if you haven't been watching the news, he's the motherfucker from California that runs to the White House, gets fed information, then runs across to the Capitol building, stands out front and says, "People are saying,"
Right.
and like,
I have this new news information, and then he runs it right back to the White House.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
So we should check back in on some of these.
Well, he's also
later.
the one that he was the obviously because he's the majority. He was over the I'm screwing up all of my. I can't think of it all. The committee. What's the committee?
he was on the
chairman,
House committee
the House
investigating
committee,
of Russia,
and
said,
he's the one that said we're done.
We're done.
We're done. We've
There's
done
no
everything.
collusion, but there was no collusion. But they also didn't interview anybody.
Right.
They also decided not to interview anybody. And one of the people that was on the committee was like, "Okay, we fucked this up." One of the Democrats on the committee was like, come on, people." And now for governor, Gavin Newsom is a wonderful choice. But for governor of California, there are
Hang on.
2. We really like the other guy, the Democrat that's running.
Gavin Newsom is the Democrat that's running. He's currently ahead in the polls with 5% reporting.
And there's no way that he won't win this. There's no way he won't win this primary.
This nomination.
But the other guy that he's running against,
John Cox?
no,
He's the next leader as of now. Republican or Democrat?
it's a Democrat, and I swear to God we like him.
Oh, Antonio.
Vigliarosa.
Yep. Thank God you're here for the pronunciation.
Yes. Vigliarosa is the one that very opposite views of the Democratic Party, but both very good. I think Vigliarosa is the DA of Los Angeles. Somebody's got to help me with what he does. But he has been on Pod Save America a couple times, even though Gary Newsom is their buddy, and the mayor of Los Angeles, whose father was the person from the OJ case. There are so many really good candidates running in California, and I personally think that if Gavin Newsom wins, this is just a real quick stepping stone to running for president. Jerry Brown, for some reason, won't run for president. He's been out since the 70s when he should have done it.
Right.
But Gavin Newsom, I think, is just gonna go right up, immediately to president. If you know what I mean. I find it very hard to believe. Yeah, Villarosa. I said it right.
He
I think Gavin Newsom
does
becomes
not
pregnant.
appear to be holding an office right now.
And I
He
can't-
was co-chair of Hillary's 2008 campaign. He was a member of Obama's transition team, and he was chair of the 2012 Democratic National Convention.
Yeah, that's why he's on Pod Save America. They like him personally.
Oh, sure, because they worked with him.
They worked with him. I thought he held a current office, but the guy
think
that's
so.
I think the Skinsetti, what the hell, Eric? What's that guy's name? That's the mayor of LA right now. Really good guy.
Oh no, I don't know, but I know who
His
you're talking
father
about.
was the district attorney during
This
OJ.
thing listens to me. It predicted. It's Eric Garcetti.
Eric Garcetti. That's the one. He's like 2024. But Gavin Newsom, I think they're gonna go for Newsom. He's gonna win the governorship, and he's gonna leave them on the double.
Yeah.
I don't think if you've watched him on Real Time with Bill Maher for many years, he was the mayor of San Francisco. I think he's the lieutenant governor now. But I mean, he's an amazing politician. He should be the face of the Democratic Party as far as I'm concerned. That is, and then with Garcetti coming up straight behind.
Right.
And the president of Starbucks, he's leaving, and he's no longer denying that he wants to be president. He's stopped pretending that's not what he's gonna do.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so this is the guy that told stockholders to go fuck themselves when they were against them being pro-gay. He was like, "Well, sell your stocks. I don't know what to tell you.
Sure.
This is the way it goes."
Right.
And now that Trump has been such a disaster and a shitty businessman, he's like, I'm in. Like,
Oh, I'm a real businessman.
so I really do think, I mean, that asshole from I think Bernie's gonna come fucking back at 97,000 years old.
You think?
And stir shit up. Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought it was already established that he was running. I thought that was something. I thought I saw that last week in a headline.
I'm just done with him and his people. I mean, there's fresh new blood in the world.
T-shirts
There-
and Kimmy Schmidt. This is
Yeah.
my whole life. I'm so ill-informed.
He's started. You can tell the drums have started beating. He's back on talk shows.
Yeah.
You're just, it's done. Like, you already burned the forest. No, like, I wouldn't even vote for him in a primary anymore. I would just do that whole Susan Sarandon thing with him. Like, I can't.
No.
Not with.
Well, can we break from this topic and go over to? I believe I found the commercial you want.
Oh, I'm so
Oh,
excited.
I believe I found the commercial.
Oh, nostalgia.
We're gonna see what this does. So let's see. And hopefully we won't get copyright infringement for this.
What's the best gift for Dad on Father's Day? A red sports car, B, a dream golf vacation, or C, a Fudgy the Whale ice cream cake by Carvel.
A.
The correct answer is C. Fudgy the Whale is the best gift you can give Dad on Father's Day.
Please visit your Carvel dealers. They'd love to see you and make Fudgy the Whale for Father's Day. Hey, Dad, have a nice day.
And don't forget to ask for this money-saving coupon flyer at your participating Carvel store.
Oh, you need one.
Oh,
that's
is there a different one that has the?
Well, I mean, it's the right idea, but you need one with all whatever his name is, Carvel.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, well I'll continue to look.
Yeah, because his voice was hysterical because it just sounded like a drunk guy in someone's basement. Carvel ice cream cake, same cake as the. It was so.
Well, there's
so
all kinds
much
of. There's. I'm watching another. Tell me if you see a commercial that you think is the right
Oh,
one.
it's just the voice. It doesn't matter what the. It's just him talking that matters.
Oh, you think so? You think it's this one? Like it could be this?
Oh yeah.
Well, let's see. Somebody, please. Let's go back to the.
I've never heard anybody but him talking a Carvel commercial.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So let's see what this is.
Ooh.
Premium quality. Fresh. Less air.
I don't think this is gonna have any of that voice.
Now this is working really hard. He's gonna start talking in a minute. There's the whale cake.
America's freshest.
My God.
Ice cream.
Did they say less air?
Yeah.
Oh, there's no. Okay, so.
Is air a problem in ice cream?
That Carvel manufactures, that's right. Carvel ice cream is manufactured by store owners and their families, that's right. Carvel ice cream is made with Carvel special secret formula ingredients, that's right too. And it's made fresh, it's made without an air pump, it's heavier in weight, it is fresher than any commercial ice cream in the United States. Isn't that a big statement? But that is Carvel, and we must say it. Thank you.
Like I said, it was just.
He's drunk in a basement. You're right.
Yeah.
He's almost the same voice as crime scene footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, my inspiration is from Carvel ice cream. Yes.
But you would just, when those commercials would start, and they were always on, even though we had them in Niagara Falls, we had a Carvel store, the commercials were always on PIX out of New York or WOR. So you would always, and it was just that thick New York accent, you know what I mean, that none of us have, but you'd just be like, oh, gonna get some cake.
Fudgy the Whale.
Dropping off Fudgy the Whale at the pool.
Yeah, see, that's what that doesn't sound good.
That is good times.
Anyhow,
Those
We already
cakes were
had the
delicious.
poop train, guys. Well,
oh, yeah, that wasn't. If you missed that story, but
whale emoji, cake emoji, poop emoji.
right. And now let's see if we get an emoji out of.
Same emoji as the tie
We're
emoji.
going to the next story, and here's what's happening. Now
All right.
we're teaching Shakespeare
Oh, it's exciting.
in emoji.
Oh,
That's right.
by the pricking of my thumbs.
Some education. Let's see. Needle emoji, thumbs up emoji.
Which emoji?
Some educational professionals believe that emoji can be used in the classroom. That's right. There's a case of one group of teachers in the UK who are using emoji to teach Shakespeare.
Which one would you like to start with?
Well, you know what? We can start with any of them if you like. I don't
I know if you were going to describe it to us. I
Well,
want to go.
we certainly can.
Okay.
We certainly can.
Tell me which one you want.
I lost the page where all my things were, so
Oh, I hate when that happens.
go bananas. Pull one up. Let's see what
Well,
let's
let's
see what
Go
happens.
bananas.
Here's Hamlet.
Look at Hamlet.
There's Hamlet.
Crown emoji, dead
Dead
emoji,
emoji.
dude emoji, crown emoji, ring emoji.
Freddie Mercury.
How do you know
apparently
it's his
is,
mother? There's
Yeah.
Hamlet's ghost. There's the soliloquy,
Some
right?
dialogue. There's
Oh,
a kid, a dad,
Then he
another
talks
dad.
to the skull.
Uh-huh.
The girl.
To be or not to be.
Somewhere he's got to be neither a borrower or a lender B.
Right.
Oh, she dies. She kills herself and dies, and then they all die because you got to kill off.
You know what? Dead.
Because the wine is poisoned, and that's how he kills half of them. Because if you are alive at the end of Hamlet, you did not have a good role.
Right.
Because everybody's dead.
Everybody's died.
Okay.
You did really good at that. Look at that.
All right.
Yeah, because the 2 soliloquies. I mean, but you don't get what's in the
Apparently
soliloquies.
it's effective.
Yeah.
Apparently this method is effective because even Al, who doesn't understand emoji, got it.
Well, he knows the story.
Well,
I don't
sure.
know. Yeah. Okay, so here's
Let's try an easier one.
Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, dead. Okay.
Two people
No,
love.
no.
People in love.
A guy, a girl, love, a ring. All right. A dude, scared. Oh, no.
No, horrified, and then it's forbidden. She's forbidden.
Yep,
It's
family.
forbidden love. They fall in love anyways. They stab her brother. A boy like that would kill your brother. Kill her brother. He runs away. He's in hiding. Soliloquy must happen there. Dialogue.
Right.
Then they get married in secret.
Yep.
It's forbidden again.
Yep.
Why is the heart purple? Then there's a plan. They pretend that he's dead. She goes to find him. She thinks he's dead, so she kills herself. He wakes up, or she wakes up. He's not really dead. She kills herself.
Everybody's
now she's dead.
Everybody dead. Look at that.
Yeah.
Those of you that are just
he
listening
goes,
on the
thinks
audio
she's
feed,
dead,
too
but
bad.
she's that's the apothecary. So the heart with the wink in the skull is the apothecary giving the medicine that makes her pretend to be dead. He sees her, thinks she's dead, but she's not. And look, she wakes up surprised because now he's dead, so she kills herself. All right.
This
I mean,
is
you're
fun.
not going to get Shakespeare out of that.
This is fun. Let's do another.
How are you with Macbeth?
By the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way
Scottish
comes.
play.
So you get the three ghosts in the beginning. He meets the 3 phantoms, the 3 witches. There's a dream. There's a dream of him becoming the king. And he's got to kill everybody else that was in the dream that could be the king. And then I don't know. But the 3 witches come back, and he ends up killing everybody, not becoming king.
And there's a baby in there somewhere.
All right, that one's no fun because Macbeth has all the scary parts and all the witches and the stuff in the woods and the betrayal.
Macbeth,
and there's got to be something of. Is there anyone cleaning? Because she's got a
There's a
out
tree,
damn
there's the
spot.
woods.
Yeah, but she's got to do the whole thing of like scrubbing away the blood of her guilt and the out damn spot and
I don't know.
the one that everybody misquotes. Methinks the lady doth protest too much.
Right.
And now a word from our new sponsor, Carvel Ice Cream.
Yeah, that the Macbeth one, you lost a lot, so you're not going to get there.
All right, well, then let's go to this and see what happens.
It's a dry week, kids, so we only got a couple things to talk about, so you're almost released from school. We have a show that I'm not sure, I don't know why they're not canceling it or renewing it. I get my gay card punched with a movie that I guess I've never seen before. We have a standalone Joker movie. We have debut things, the Drama Desk Awards, a couple little things.
Oh, anybody die that we know of? Oh, actually, yes, we do have one today.
There is one, but I don't know her enough to do any kind of obituary.
We'll be right back.
We've all got places to go! We've all got places to go!
You're listening to You Talk America. is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
All right, kids, guess what? It's the beginning of Hour 3. Some people call it the C block, but we're just going to call it Hour 3. It's all right. We've already been through intros, obsessions. Last hour was headlines. This hour, it is Al Perkins in his entertainment corner. Coming up a little bit later, Kat Carlson in Two Things. She may not have two things, but
why not?
We'll fill the time talking about all kinds of stuff because that's what we do. By the way, happy birthday in the chat room. Tim Wong is in the chat room. His birthday, I believe, was yesterday. Was it yesterday? Is that right, Al?
Yes.
Tim, happy birthday. I don't know which one that was for you, but happy birthday. Hope things are going. Hope things are going well for you out there in the Los Angeles area. For those of you that know, Tim was actually an in-studio guest of ours right before he moved away. Met him at Stacy's, I did. Anywho, well, it looks like Al's getting ready to talk for about another hour, so here we go.
Oh, no, not at all. So Jared Leto's Joker is ready for his close-up, and in a strange thing, he was really touted for 2016 Suicide Squad as, like, the Joker being a big role in that movie and a big part of it, and he was, like, it just constantly getting released, his makeup choices, his hair choices, and then he was hardly in the movie. Like, he played almost no role. The movie was about Harley Quinn or whatever her name is. And it was, I mean, it wasn't a great movie. It wasn't a bad movie. It was very colorful and, you know what I mean? It was air-conditioned. It happened. But now Joker movie will be set within the DC Extended Universe, which is Suicide Squad, Justice League, Wonder Woman, the upcoming Aquaman. But there's also a potential Joker origin movie taking place outside of all this with Joaquin Phoenix being the origin for the Joker, and I'm like, isn't he a little long in the tooth for an origin story? Like, we usually have to replace these people when they hit 21. Like, I don't know. I don't understand that one either. So, and there's also a direct sequel coming to Suicide Squad featuring Harley Quinn, which was Margot Robbie from I, Tonya. And she really was terrific in it. It was, you know, it was an okay movie. But she was fun in it, and it was, like I said, it was very colorful.
I was entertained the entire time.
Yeah.
Listen, you can't badmouth that movie to me because I...
Oh, I, Tonya? Oh, no.
I giggled the whole time.
Oh, no, yeah. Suicide Squad was the one that I'm like, I didn't care if it ended there. They kept going. Like, they could have shut that projector off at any point, and I'd been like, oh, that seems like a good place to end it. But no, I, Tonya was terrific, and she's good. As far as cancellations goes, there's that show on Champions by, I just drew a blank on her name. From The Office and from, oh my gosh, she had her own show for years that went to Hulu. The Mindy Project.
Oh, Mindy Kaling.
Yes. So she did that Champion show. She was executive producer. She was in a few episodes about dropping off her gay kid in New York with a baby's father.
Oh, I never saw
with the kid's father, so that she could get a little break from parenting and let him get to meet his father. It's the one that Jon Favreau's brother from Pod Save America. His brother is the cute brother on the show. And it's the only show up in the air from last season that they still have not announced whether or not it's canceled or renewed. I kind of hate watching most of it, but I wanted to give it a chance because it's a gay Indian kid. I'm like, how many jobs is this kid gonna get?
Right.
You know what I mean? Hopefully, it's the start of diverse casting, but we don't know.
Never know.
So I'm kind of curious how that goes, and to see why they haven't canceled or renewed it. I really don't. I don't know what's happening there. And as an update, The Walking Dead jumped over the bridge and swam away, and like no one cares anymore. We're just hate watching that till it ends.
Okay.
And Andrew Lincoln, who plays Rick, has announced that this next season will be his own, and he got to his last.
Oh.
And he got to announce
I hope they
that.
kill him spectacularly.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was surprised. Well, most people that watched this last season thought that this was going to be his last season, and that they would make Carl the star of the show, as the comic books did. They went a different way, and now Andrew Lincoln. So maybe they'll make Maggie. They'll make it a girl show. But then Fear the Walking Dead, which I also was hate watching because every opportunity they had to have a good villain, the person would just be laying on the side of the road. You're like, wait, that was a great opportunity.
Damn it!
Like we could have seen a great origin story for a villain. Well, now they've hired new showrunners and completely changed the direction of the show, and it's been a terrific season. I waited to watch it pretty much all at once, and they turned that one around. And I thought that one was pretty much gone and impossible to fix, but that's been kind of interesting. So if you watch it, coming up on Netflix, Orange is the New Black.
End of July, right?
Is coming back July 27th for season 6.
And we're going to have to back up and rewatch because some shit went down. I don't even remember all of it.
I know, so you do have to go back because that show has so much going on and so many characters.
Things. Yeah,
but
and so many things happened in like those last 3 episodes.
Right, and the for watching last season, they really had to clean up a mess, and it's kind of like when you have a show that does like a really good big bad, like Dexter, and you have to like reset everything because they've completely fucked with their lives. After the Poussey cafeteria incident, that whole next season was just about
crazy town.
Just reset.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious to see what they do. Do they bring back a good villain? Like, how do they navigate their way through?
Well, they've moved them all out of Litchfield.
Yeah. So where are they?
They're all maybe different places. Maybe it's a tale of 2 cities now.
Oh, I know. But then you end up in the Walking Dead, where you got to watch 19 different shows to figure out like what each one's doing. Like, have them live in the same.
Not a thing.
Have them live in the same house. Don't create 4 different stories so that there's.
Yeah. Or kill some people off.
Yeah. That's fine too.
Let me tell you, we can do without Piper all day long.
Oh yeah, there's no reason
that bitch
for
can
her.
Go.
And now a limited series from HBO, Sharp Objects, which I'm convinced, and please Google this for me if this wasn't already a movie that I liked once. But it is based on Flynn, Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl. It's one of her other 2 books.
Okay.
I think she may even have a 4th one. But Sharp Objects, I'm convinced, was already made into a movie. It's coming to Netflix sometime in the next month. It's based on the 2006 book by Gone Girl author Gillian Flynn. It was developed by Marty Nixon, Unreal, and directed by The Big Little Lies, Wild, Jean-Marc Vallée. The mystery is as much about who Camille is and what happened in this town as about the murders. 8 episodes, premieres July 8th. A terrific read. If you haven't read, she has 3 books that I know of: Sharp Objects, Gone Girl, and one other one. And I thought.
I don't think it was already a thing.
Okay.
It was just.
But anyways,
the book is so recent.
I'll go to IMDb. But so this looks really good. And Amy Adams, can she do any wrong? Not
cannot.
Really. She is pretty good.
We like when she does everything.
So I'm just going to waste your time. So sing a little song to yourselves while I look and see which of her movies have been made into.
Do you have a song suggestion?
Whatever you'd like.
So many songs.
There's a lot of songs. There's tons of songs out there.
Dark Places.
Motown?
I'm so sorry.
Should we go?
Dark Places is the one. That's the one that they've already made a movie of. My apologies. And Sharp Objects, and it's Charlize Theron. Another terrific movie, and how that all plays together. I read all those books kind of in like one summer, so they all mix together to me. I'm never sure which one I'm watching. So there's that.
I need a book. I'm about to spend a week at the beach, and that's all I do at the beach is read. I need a book.
I am suggesting.
I want to go look at trucks.
Well, we do garbage trucks in the morning.
But later on.
And then later on, I read a book.
Yeah. So it seems to be a short read. I'll Be Gone in the Dark, Michelle McNamara, about the Golden State Killer and her obsession. This is a woman playing extra bedroom detective. I am about a 10th of the way through, by all accounts. Wow, is it a fast read? I mean, I was banging it out last night. I feel like I read for 2 minutes and knocked out a chunk.
Right. Tell me the name again.
I'll Be Gone in the Dark. And it's a little bit about what she discovered on her own, like seriously home sleuthing, Googling.
Okay.
And then something about like she interviews the police that worked on the case. So she gets people like retrospectively looking back at like what they thought, what they saw, and then she goes back with like Google Maps and like, well, here's what it looked like you just did with like,
oh my gosh,
show me the strip in 1985, and she's like, well, that's not really possible where you say that is. So it's kind of interesting how she's.
And I, if this has already been divulged, I don't know, or I haven't heard this. At any point, did any one of these people who was investigating or looking back or looking at this at all, did anybody happen to have interviewed him and not realized it?
I will find that out. And that's what I'm saying. I want them to make a movie of this next part. Like, I want someone to like write the book of like, how did we get from, we had no idea for 10, 15 years anything was happening.
Right.
She got everybody looking again. She really started poking, and she was obsessed like me with true crime dramas and stuff like that.
Well, and there was an investigator. His name is Paul Holes, and I only know this because I started listening to a podcast called My Favorite Murderer, and they've been really focused on the Golden State Killer lately. And they actually had Paul Holes as a guest, and I haven't finished listening to it. So maybe there's Maybe
Yeah.
there's even more information there.
But and she's saying right here, like in the early stuff, that she knew that it was that somehow DNA was going to play a role.
Mm-hmm.
Like she knew. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. But it's a fast read. I read 125 pages last night in what felt like 30 seconds.
You're very busy.
Yeah, I don't sleep a lot. So that would be my recommendation for you.
It's available on Kindle. That might happen.
Oh, it definitely is. So let me make sure there was nothing left over here. Kimmy Schmidt, terrifically funny, and because like there's always got to be something that they take on. Very funny to watch Kimmy Schmidt realize, because of her being a mole woman, how awful most stories are in justifying being bad to women. And it's a really funny theme. Like as she like looks at fairy tales and looks at stuff, it's like, no, you like, why would you say that? And so it's very funny. And I made that not funny at all, but funny how she keeps.
You did a really good job at not making that not funny.
Thank you. It took part. But it really is interesting. Oh, and then my gay card. So I may have seen the Children's Hour at some point. It's the whole point of the Celluloid Closet is like the first, about the gay movies, and it's the one from the 60s, Shirley MacLaine, Audrey Hepburn, the two women running a girls' school that are accused of being lesbians and have their lives destroyed.
I feel like I've seen that.
I think it's de rigueur, and I think I saw it in the 80s, but I don't like 100% didn't 100% remember it. But it's part of like the gay, icons of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting to see it done, and that it had a backlash like 15 years ago from the Celluloid Closet, or 20 years ago, about like representing gays wrong. But then you come back around to it, and you got to be like, they didn't know what the fuck gay was either. You know what I mean? The one girl has feelings, she doesn't know what they are. The other one doesn't think that's even possible. She thinks she's just in a friendship. So them being confused with each other is a perfectly legitimate response. Like they weren't going to stand up with a P flag sign and be like, this is my mountain. You know what I mean? Like it comes off as much more genuine that like one is confused and one is like, I guess this is true.
I don't know what that is. Right.
Yeah. And the other one is like horrified of like, that's not you. We're just friends. Like this is like, and she doesn't see like the fried green tomato situation they've developed. So it and it really does kind of play into that fried green tomatoes relationship, but nobody says I'm as settled as I ever hope to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the Children's Hour very good. It's out on DVD, not on any streaming that I could find. And it came up because I was watching a Shirley MacLaine movie, and I'm like, oh, I used to like her when she was that little pixie haired thing. And then I watched a little interview from the Celluloid Closet where she's like, I don't understand why we never talked about backstory. Like, why didn't we sit down and talk about the motivation for this speech that she gives? I'm like, because she would have no motivation. She would have had no like knowing of like lesbians. They're from this little small town in Vermont, let's say. Like, she would have nothing to like look to as a role model to be like, well, that's what I want.
Right.
Like her coming up with some grand political speech would make no sense.
I can rent it for $4 on Amazon.
Oh, there you go. Well worth it. It was really good. So that was it. So it was weird to see like the tide turn the other way again of like, settle down, people. There can be confused young people in the world.
That's really most of them are.
Yeah.
Just confused young people.
And then lastly, the Drama Desk Awards. A couple of...
Tell me more. I haven't watched them yet.
Tell me more.
Like, does he have a car?
Jenny, I'll just interject this right quick for you.
Tell us a story.
Jenny, there's the picture. I showed this. I think I showed it last week. She was asking about the shirt that I'm wearing, asking what it says on it, and I explained it's a
lovely shirt. Where'd you get it?
Oh, my God. Well, I have a great friend who makes shirts.
Isn't that terrific?
Yes, Kat Carlson made this shirt.
Handy.
My friend in the picture, my friend Dean is standing next to me, and he's the one that we joke about the fact that we have a summer body, but not this summer.
Not this summer.
It may not be next summer, but
or the summer could have already gone.
Yeah, who knows? A summer of yesteryear, who knows? But yes, that's what the shirt means.
It looks good on you.
Thank you. I enjoy it.
I like it.
Actually, I was really thinking I should just start buying black V-necks through you.
Oh, sure.
Because I like the shirt.
Oh, do you?
Only thing, I just wish it was a little bit of a deeper V. But like, this is perfectly fine. I like everything about the shirt.
It's a comfy shirt.
There you go.
So I may just.
I don't like scratchy shirts.
So
like
can
nice
you?
shirts.
So now I think you're out.
Can I be your wholesaler?
Yes,
I can.
that's exactly what I need to be.
Yes, I can.
Got it.
Yeah, we'll get them to you inexpensively.
Oh my God, that Lovely. I'm going to have to put that in my journal.
Oh.
Dear
diary.
So
the
the Drama Desk Awards combine off-Broadway and Broadway, so things that may have been eligible, last year for Tonys are not eligible, you know what I mean? Like, so it kind of confuses two different worlds in two different time frames.
Very crazy, but you get some interesting stuff on the Drama Desk.
Right, on the drama. They dig a little deeper, but Outstanding Musical did go to SpongeBob SquarePants.
I'm telling you,
but
they're about
a visit
to win
from
a shit ton of awards.
A visit from the band was not.
The band's visit.
The band's visit was not on the list, although Mean Girls was.
Because they were on the list last year because of whatever the rules to the Drama Desk were.
Because they were off Broadway and moved to Broadway, so like
Right.
Evan Hansen and Hamilton, the
Because
years were off.
I found the band's visit last year because they performed at the Drama Desk Awards last year.
Right. So that's what I said. It's weird with the timing and who's eligible and who's not.
I don't understand it.
So
either.
that's the Tony Awards. So far from watching Gold Derby, the money's on the
SpongeBob.
band's visit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Interesting.
Outstanding revival of a play, Angels in America. I don't think anyone should argue against this one in any way. Outstanding play was Admissions from Lincoln Center Theater, and then revival of a musical was My Fair Lady, Lincoln Center again, with Carousel on the list, which is the one that's getting all the noise. Once on this Island, Pacific Overtures, and on Gold Derby, they're talking about how nice Lauren Ambrose's voice is and how she has a nice operatic soprano.
Okay.
Where the review said she was like kind of a slouch, so it was nice to hear someone say something positive about her singing, because I'm like, she is trying to take on a Julie Andrews.
Hard to do, sure.
Yeah, one of her most iconic roles.
Good night, Tim. Thank you.
So, Outstanding Actress in a Play, Glenda Jackson is still alive and no longer a part of Parliament. She's been in Parliament in Great Britain for centuries, and now she's back, and she just won a Drama Desk Award.
Good for her.
And she is
1,000.
90
Yeah,
something.
she's very old.
Yeah.
Outstanding Actor in a Musical, Ethan Slater wins for SpongeBob SquarePants, but he beat Joshua Henry for Carousel, which everyone is saying that's the race to watch, is for which one of those two will win Best Actor. Outstanding Actress in a Musical, Jessie Mueller wins for Carousel against Daphne Rubin Vega for Miss You Like Hell, Ashley Park for
I miss you like crazy.
Yeah. LaChance, and in front of it is pronounced LaChance.
Okay.
No, not LaChance like I've been saying. And that's for Summer the Musical. Featured acted in a play, Nathan Lane for Angels in America. Again, I think that's kind of a gimme.
Right.
Featured actress in a play was Jamie Brewer, but what they were saying on shit. Okay, the one that they were talking about on the Tony Awards isn't even nominated. She's not even here. So I guess she's the one for. Oh, this isn't a play. I'm so sorry. So, featured actress in a musical, Lindsay Mendez for Carousel. They say she steals the whole show, and whatever you're hearing good about Mean Girls, for featured actor and featured actress, just give it up because Lindsay Mendez is winning for Carousel, according to the good people at Gold Derby.
Good for her.
And Gavin Lee for SpongeBob SquarePants, which I don't know if you've seen it, but I guess he does a dance as an octopus, a tap dance with 8 legs or something. That's supposed to be
I haven't seen it.
spectacular. And Gavin Lee is the one that tap danced upside down across the proscenium in Mary Poppins. And that was the only number in that show that I didn't hate. But Gray Henson is I think he's playing the gay kid in Mean Girls.
Okay.
And he's getting a lot of press, and they're saying there's
Too gay to function.
Too gay to function.
Oh.
And then we just saw him in Hamilton with Joshua Henry, or I don't know if he made it as far as Phoenix, but he was in LA when I saw it. Is Alexander Gemignani. He was the king.
The traditional spelling.
Yeah. Gemignani. He was the king, and he was the one that played the king in off-Broadway, got replaced for Broadway, came back to do the tours, and now he's back in Carousel, and they're saying that, like, he's finally found his role. Like, this guy that's been, like, good. Floating around Broadway for a decade. Everyone loves him. They've been waiting for the right role, and I guess Carousel is where it comes. Carousel is an awful, terrible, shitty play about spousal abuse, and they get you at the end when they get Renee Fleming to sing You'll Never Walk Alone. I cannot stress enough how terrible this show is. It's terrible.
But if you got one big showstopper...
Yeah. So Outstanding Director of a Musical went to SpongeBob SquarePants. And Outstanding Choreography to Justin Peck for Carousel. And and that's the one where they were talking about that octopus dance, which we've got to find. Somebody's got to find it somewhere. Book of a Musical, Tina Fey, one for
I may or may
Girls.
not know where the bootleg lives.
Yeah, but we'll find it. Somebody's got to be performing that soon. But Tina Fey won a Drama Desk Award for Book of a Musical.
Good for her.
So the Tony Awards are on this Sunday. Check them out. It's always the most entertaining award show.
It's my fave.
On the air. Yep.
Yeah.
Solid entertainment.
Performances.
Yep. So that's this Sunday, and I'll say the Tiffany Network because they think
I believe it is. In fact, I'm sure it is because it's they're promoting it before you go into Colbert.
Yeah.
At night.
So there you go.
There it is.
Yeah, sure.
So terrific entertainment, and you got a couple things to know if you're doing any kind of a ballot.
I gotta fill mine out.
I was very disappointed that
I feel like I was supposed to be hosting them, but I'm staying very, very quiet.
Yeah,
It's a secret. I don't want to do that.
I was kind of hoping that
Bar's closing in 3 weeks.
the one that plays Disco Donna would win, but after hearing them describe her competition for featured actress in a play, it seems like a really tough year, and this one from Carousel might be where they throw an acting thing. But it would nice to see Joshua Henry after all of the stuff he's done and his great performances.
Yeah.
Get a Tony, even if it's for such a shitty part, playing Billy in Carousel. But at least, I don't know, I guess
Get
they
him
made
as Tony.
It's colorblind casting, so now the horrible guy is black. I don't know if that's good. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, it's horrible. She stays with a man who beats her. I mean, it's just. Oh, and the part that Audra McDonald won her first Tony, playing that supporting role. That's how she won her first Tony. Was for the role. And I can't. We'll find out what song she sings. Can't Help Lovin' That Man. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's from Carousel. Fish gotta swim, birds gotta fly. I gotta love one man till I die.
Can't help
loving that man of mine. There's a jazzy version in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
That's true. There is. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's her song. Or she gets June is busting out all over. Carousel's full. It's just a shitty play with
Mr. Snow.
Mr. Snow. That's a Liza Minnelli started singing that song early in her career. All the songs you've heard every song in Carousel.
I'm sure I have.
Trust me when I tell you. At some point or another, you've seen enough cabarets.
I feel like I put on Carousel at one point and actually just turned it off.
I've been on a Carousel.
Oh, the movie.
I get sick.
The movie's awful.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful. But it's got If I Loved You, which is terrific.
I don't know.
Oh, God.
What happened?
Tap dancing. Aaron found a link at 4 minutes, 53 seconds.
Oh.
But it's a link to the bootleg.
I'm not too proud. So that's it for entertainment. So done! I told you there wasn't much.
Well, that's exciting.
There wasn't much.
There's not much going on.
No, I was going to throw a couple things into your entertainment segment. Well, this is entertainment, but I thought you might want to know. Kelly Sadler, she's the one in the White House who made the comments about John McCain dying.
Yep.
Out. She's out of the White House. She's gone.
Good.
Anything to say about the old Samantha Bee and the cunt reference? Anything about that? Because that's entertainment.
No, I think that's perfectly fair.
I think all bets are off.
Okay.
Yeah,
Listen, if you're gonna be a cunt, somebody should call you a cunt.
And did we all see the Sally Fields?
That it was
tweet?
an insult to cunts.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
Also, in the death, and I don't know if you said you didn't know much about her, but believe she's David Spade's sister, if I'm not mistaken. Kate Spade, the bag maker.
I am 99% sure that is
I believe
true
that's
and
to be
something
correct.
I forget. And from Arizona.
Yeah, she's right here from Scottsdale.
Designer.
Kate Spade.
Killed herself.
With a note today. So found her passed away in her New York apartment today. I didn't know if there was anything. I'm not a fashion person at all,
I
but
didn't know her.
I didn't know if there was any relevance to that at all with anybody.
No, and I mean it's always sad. 50-some years old commits,
53, 55, something like that.
there. Suicide.
She has a 13-year-old daughter.
It's awful.
I'm not sure what demon she was dealing with, but that's I feel worse for the daughter than I do of anybody else, because I'm like, now the rest of her life is.
Oh, and we may have not have talked about this. Speaking of suicide, in Netflix obsessions, I finished 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, I haven't
season
started.
due.
Yeah.
Be prepared. That is
really. Is it
that is brutal.
Tougher than the first season?
Yes, because of the way they do it with it'll come to me. Survivors, and the way that, and I think
sure, because season 2 is about how everybody else's life is fucked up, right?
Each person the narrator of each episode is who has to testify.
Okay.
So you find out what they really testify, and then you find out their truth as the overarching theme of the show.
Right.
You find out what
three
really
sides to every story.
Right.
Yours, mine, and the truth.
And the truth. And so you see like what really happened, what they're portraying in their testimony, if they're lying when they're some people are giving like frighteningly frank testimony. I mean, absolutely, it was devastating TV. And that last, like, you have to check your psychological well-being. Like, I had a couple moments of like, am I prepared to watch like this? As far as like death goes, it handles mourning and what I thought was a very beautiful way. Like the fact that like the mom is grieving, the friend has his own Kate Walsh in a spectacular performance. Terrible wigs all around. There's
the wig budget was low.
There's a backstory of gun violence in schools that made me like insanely angry.
Wow.
I was angry at everyone's reaction to the guns, and like I was enraged. Like I had so many emotions during that show, and cried for like face down on the couch crying for an hour. Like that was because you have to face grief and how you let someone, like how do you let someone go and go live a happy life regardless of how they died, but how do you say goodbye to someone who's died and go on with your life? Because at some point you have to, like the mail gets delivered the next day, the snowplows come, like life just goes on. You have to like eventually get up and move around.
Right.
But at what point do you decide to do it? Have you decided to do it? Are you still like in that dark place of missing someone? It was very, 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 I thought it was very well done. Wow. And I did watch the after show with the counselors. I did watch that to like check in of like, this was a really shitty idea. Like this part of the story that we made for TV is not what you should do in any way, shape, or form. And I was really glad to hear that.
Oh, good.
Because there's one part that I thought that's dangerous and stupid. Right. And in this age of guns and shootings, like no, stop. Like there was times I was like screaming at the TV, call an adult. They handle the rape story beautiful. I mean, just really? So thoughtfully from everyone's perspective of like, it's as we're talking about with the Me Too moment, it's your story to let out. Like it's your story to tell when you're ready. You're not on some kind of a time frame. You don't have to be pushed into, you know, if you're not ready, if you're not psychologically ready. So I mean, there's a lot going on that TV show.
It's a lot to unpack. Yeah, I've seen a couple of comments back and forth. I've tried to stay away because I really do want to watch that. Because I thought the first season was really well done.
Yeah, it's really nicely done.
Anybody who's listening, Aaron, you are correct. I didn't want to misspeak and think that we were giving out bad information. Kate Spade married into the Spade family. She was actually not from Scottsdale, not from Arizona. She was David Spade he is a local person to us here. She was actually born in Kansas City in December of '62.
Everything's up to date in Kansas City.
So she married into Andy Spade back in '94, which made her the sister-in-law to David Spade. So that is the connection.
Yeah, I had heard at some point there was a connection. He was like a comedian at Harrison saw him like at the burger place, like stand up back in. How old is he? Do we know?
David Spade. It can't be hard to figure out. I would put him at. Is he 50?
Oh, I think he's old. I think he's older than me.
David Spade, 53.
53. So, like I said, he was just a couple years older than us in college, and
he's actually from Birmingham, Michigan, but then moved here clearly because we know him as a local person.
The comedy club at Scottsdale and University, at Rural and University.
The Improv?
The Improv.
Used to be there?
Yeah.
I don't think it's there anymore.
That's where.
Still there.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He had funny jokes about Sade and the spelling of his name. Like he was one of those comedians that were kind of watching.
But yeah, so David Spade is 53, so he's a little older. He would put him at the Wilkes age, correct? Right?
Yeah, if you want to say that out loud and not get killed,
go
ahead.
Well, Doug and I had a discussion about age just the other day here.
Raised in both Scottsdale from age 4 and Casa Grande.
Oh, the big town of Casa Grande.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look out.
Well, that makes him special,
Welcome
doesn't
to
it?
the big house.
Mm-hmm. Kat, do you have 2 things?
I don't.
Okay, well, then we'll skip that. What do you want to talk about now?
Well, do we have any updates on the election?
Shawn Mendes. Does anybody else know anything about Shawn Mendes?
Shawn Mendes, yes.
Yeah, we talked. I saw him.
I tried you to listen to him after he was on SNL last year.
No idea. But I don't really. But I don't really care for his the music.
I think his music is terrific.
I'm not really because all it is about him just doing a little falsetto voice, and to me it all sounds the same at this point.
I'm into it.
But when I saw him doing the carpool karaoke last night with Corden, I was like, well, who is this cute man with a big, beautiful smile? And then they started singing shit. But he was very, very funny.
That song "Stitches" is the one that everybody knows.
Right. But it was very funny. If you watch the carpool karaoke with him, it was really cute because at one point, Corden makes a comment with regards to Justin Bieber selling his underwear online, and Shawn Mendes says, "Well, I'd buy it. I'd get like $500." And then they did make a qualifier of, well, I want it to be underwear. Like, did you do a concert? Did you record a song in this underwear? Like, it can't just be Tuesday's underwear. It's got to be a specific thing. And then Corden says to him, well, what would you get for my underwear? And he goes, I would pay you to not have your underwear. I would pay you money to keep it as far away from me as possible. And it just made Corden crack up. It was very, very cute. And then they went and played hockey, which was funny, too, because Corden...
Is he Canadian?
He is.
Oh.
He is Canadian. He just moved out of his mother's house, and he said his mother still comes to his new house and cleans because that's just what she does.
Well, don't stop that train.
Yeah, there's that.
Don't be stupid.
All right. Good work.
There is that.
Nothing
Anything else you want to talk
especially
about?
Exciting in the California primary update. It looks like they put a little check mark by Dianne Feinstein as moving on to the next round. Congratulations. Gavin Newsom moving to the next round. Still unknown, those two challengers.
God, Feinstein. How old is Feinstein? My God.
I don't know.
Let me look that up right quick.
You could.
40. She's probably 70-something.
I would imagine. Dianne Feinstein, age 84.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Holy
She's
crap.
84.
Good on her.
Damn. Pelosi's 78. Boxer 77. Kamala. I like Kamala. Kamala Harris is 53. 84 years old. Dianne Feinstein. Holy crap. That's crazy.
Yep. I don't see any other really notable. I lost the... Where's the Nunez district?
Well, I did that backwards.
Still nothing declared in the 39th, the Ed Royce district.
So she was 44 when Harvey Milk got killed.
Wow.
Literally 40 years ago. Right? 77? Is that correct? 77, 78?
One of those two. Somewhere between 77 and 79.
Harvey Milk?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like 77.
That's what I was thinking. No, I'm wrong. November 27th, 78. No, yeah, assassinated. November 27th, 78.
Still before I was born.
Still. See, that puts her at 44 years old when he was...
Wow.
Because for some reason, I pictured her younger at that time.
Right.
But, wow, 84.
Yeah,
Okay,
so we'll have to wait till morning for California, it looks like.
Well, there's got to be a morning after.
According to this...
what are you looking at?
The update with not much in. Young Kim, not a rapper, a Republican, is leading so far with 26%. Gil Cisneros is in second with 16.3%, and Phil Liberatore, a Republican, with 12.3%. So... yeah, and that's the weird one where it does Orange County, Los Angeles, and San Bernardino. It's that part of California that's always trouble.
Okay.
Well,
so that's the one where the best chance of Young Kim and Phil Liberatore taking it, and then no one cares. Like literally, they just want an R in there.
Right.
But flipping that one would be big.
Flippy.
Yeah, the trial was 80. I think 84 is the right year for the trial for the Twinkie defense. I know it won the Oscar for 85, so the documentary was finished by 1985 because Kathleen Turner gave out that award.
Kathleen Turner.
Good on
for
her.
best documentary feature.
Yeah. All right.
So there you go.
All
So
right,
hopefully
there it
we'll
is.
find out about the California elections as long as we can get a Democrat into that 39th district. The one of Nunez looks like it's going to be Nunez and a Democrat, so he should be easy to get out of office.
God, we can hope.
He's been slammed just about everywhere by everyone, and I don't think the RNC is going to back him.
Good.
Like, I think the RNC is going to let him flounder.
They're going to back him. Listen.
No, the RNC is going to spend their money on the 39th. They're not going to... They'll throw him a pittance, but they're not going to do the full support.
They will certainly support him. They've supported child molesters. They've supported...
Right, but they're not... They've
all
kind of
kinds
given
of
up on
people.
California. Like, the RNC is not
Oh, sure.
They're not going to spend a lot of money, and he's shot himself in the foot, the mouth, the head so many times that
he ought to be dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a child molester's got a better child molester in Alabama has a better shot than he does in California.
What a sentence to say.
Yeah, it's
a sentence to say out loud.
That the RNC is all in with okay, go with the child molester, but
sure.
But Nunez is he's fucking great. Every time you see him on TV,
Mm-hmm.
he's on that list of like, shouldn't you get help?
Yeah. And can't you? Is reality just completely foreign to you? Is that what this is?
Yes.
No facts at all. Nothing.
I don't know.
All right, can we stick a fork in this? Are we good?
Oh yeah.
Sure, we good? All right. Then we're gonna do that. Oh my heavens! Well, don't forget, Kat Carlson is out next week, so we may have Doug Wilkie, the
villainess.
The villainess may be here. We don't know. We'll have to reach out to him to find out. Or we may have somebody else. Who knows? You never know. But then following next week, we're out for 2 weeks. So the end of the second half of June, we will be off the air and figuring out what else we're going to do with our lives. My gosh. Well, thanks for coming by, kids, tonight and sharing my Tuesday night with me here in the old studio.
Good times.
Thanks
all
for
of you in the
having
chat
us.
room, thank you very much. My gosh, I hope you all go out and do something exciting with your lives.
And tell us about it next week.
It'll be exciting for all of us, of course. Well, as we wrap up tonight's show, we're going to leave you with this parting thought. We will see you next Tuesday! Kinda.
So...
It's enough for today. Spicy's gonna go bye-bye right now. I need a big boy nap.